What we do here is go back.
Early on to begin with. Train is never an easy map to play early in the morning. You have to put a lot of focus into your works, whereas with Dust ending in the third and final map in this series, It's going to be a bit more cowboy style, but let's find out first how it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. It is the 9 to 5 dawn, the third installment of the tournament. We have Group C here, Apekz versus Tenerife Titans, the opening match, one of the two opening matches, as Tenerife Titans will be having to work their magic towards the A side.
Yeah, not going to be a slow round at all. Straight out main. Initially, the kill goes over towards the CT side. Not too long before it was traded out, though, and the main thing being now that those Glocks, they have closed in the distance, as you can see. Smoke's down, it's going to give them a bit of room to likely be able to plant that bomb uncontested, and indeed that is the case. Now Apekz have to set themselves up for the retake. They've got the kit, but Marcelia's already being dinked up and now finished off. Makes this so much more difficult. They are just being chipped away at. Truth... yeah, I don't think he's going to be able to do too much here of him. I'm going to tell you the truth, I suppose. It's a 1-on-4. I doubt anyone expects too much of him. There's one crisp shot on towards Viltrex. An extra $300 at least. There's always that small little bonus. But yeah, Tenerife Titans, they come in swinging hard. They get the opening pistol round on Train, and that's really what you want to be seeing from them here on their own map choice.
Absolutely you do, and I gotta give it to them. They did not shy away from the challenge, and at one point they said to themselves, you know what, let's just take it straight up, easily, pistol theirs, and we can see here the result, 2 scouts coming out for Apekz. They'll force up with what they can, Deagles to support as well, a single smoke and a nade, so overall they're going to be relying heavily on those scouts, and we've seen this before. Scouts can be a nuisance, can be a problem if not respected enough in a way. You know, if you tag a few people, if you're able to bring them down to 50, 40 HP and then allow the Deagles to finish the job, you certainly have a bit of an appetizer ready. But Apekz, this is an important moment here. If he gets shut down, that's pretty much the round gone. Although there's rotation already coming in. That's going to be Truth coming through deep CT. Apekz is yet to realize what is coming his way. He hears the smoke being thrown or the utilities. He's fully blinded, unfortunately. Truth finds one. The challenge being met. The Deagles connecting the second Dennis. And as you said, they might not all be Swedish, but Dennis isn't with a Deagle. This Swede is deadly. Unfortunately, it's still a 3-on-2 with Chardonnay and Calobert. And oh boy, there you have it.
Oh, yes, crisp shots initially being hit, but Marcelia's not a bad return. Sereni doesn't want to sit back, though, for the afterplant, and yeah, I think having positioned himself out towards the great train now not going to be expected, and yeah, nearly actually got caught right there. That was a little bit closer than I would have hoped for, and even just the fact that it comes down to the 1v1 in the end, I think is probably going to be a little bit upsetting for Tenerife Titans. Certainly not going to be as clean of a round as they hoped for in the beginning. Thankfully, though, up against the Nico in this round, they have a bit of a chance to make up for it. So we'll see. Maybe a few SMGs will be pulled out. Sometimes, you want to go just straight for the rifle so that you have those a little bit more securely, obviously, for the first gun round. And that's pretty much what we see. 1 Galil, 1 Mac-10 being purchased up alongside 3 AKs. So I wouldn't imagine they're going to struggle too much here. It's barely anything even being upgraded for Apekz. A couple Deagles, 1 P250. And honestly, their main goal going to be to try and steal away even 2 weapons from the hands of Tenerife Titans. That would be ideal. And not a bad start. Marcelius actually kicks things off towards main.
Oh, Gross as well. Can't get the drop, unfortunately. A little bit of damage had been dealt. Yeah, almost. But, as you said, even with Marcelius opening up the venue here and giving them a chance, unfortunately. Oh, yoy. Dennis. He at least makes it very painful. Exactly.
Dennis pistols.
I mean, that comes to be very scary in the end, right? 2 players left. He has a Deagle still, 4 bullets. I don't want to, I wouldn't want to screw that one up.
Oh yeah, I think they realized that you don't want to keep peeking Dennis, especially when he's already after hitting a couple of headshots on a pistol. We know what he's capable of, and he showed Tenerife Titans right there what he was capable of, and he'd done that bit of damage that I said they would have been looking for. So it certainly kept Apekz in a decent position now coming into this first gun round. They win it out, and as you can see for the economy of Tenerife Titans, it would be absolutely destroyed. So yeah, good opportunity. We'll see now. Looking like Tenerife Titans are going to go maybe a bit quicker. I think more so just looking to try and pressure out A main. It is being pretty effective in terms of actually wasting down the nades. You can see it's just a few flashes left, 1 smoke and 1 Molotov. I'm at 1 minute and 20 seconds left on the clock. That's pretty ridiculous. So really not a bad job in running down that utility early on, especially now as they look to bring it over towards B. That's obviously going to really limit the retakes for Apekz if they do want to come back over towards B, and in general is going to stop Apekz from being able to slow it as much as he would have wanted. Thankfully, he still had that one molly.
And Marcelius is going to find himself the first. Apekz will make it up for the second. Marcelius tags onto Double Magic carrying the bomb. And all of a sudden, Tenerife Titans, with a great start that they had, they seem to be already winding down a little bit. Dennis and Taruf will close it out. I guess that's as easy as that. Marcelius double, and all of a sudden, the defense or the offense just collapses. And, well, Apekz, they'll find themselves the first. That's as good of a start as any. And I gotta give it to them. The double up now. Oh, no, they threw. Okay, yeah. For a second there, I thought they were throwing away the second up, but they'll be going back up with it. So interesting choice that this early on they pick up the double up, but it seems to be, a good, how to say, a good start.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, without winning the pistol round, this is pretty much as good of a start you can have. And by that, I mean being able to actually get damage in those rounds that follow the pistol, even though you're not winning them, doing significant damage as well. As I said, winning that one round that actually completely broken down the money here for Tenerife Titans. And even then, a couple of them will be a little bit low on money for buying in the next round. They might be able to get the rifle, sure, but we'll see them lacking definitely in terms of the nades. So we'll see what the decision is for Tenerife Titans in this following round, and we're going to find out pretty soon. It doesn't look like this one's going to last all too long. They just attempted a quicker play out to A main, and I don't mind it. I like when teams just kind of, a lot of times, especially when you don't have much to work with, if you just try and use your numbers to overwhelm a few players, see if you can, again, get some damage in, steal away some weapons potentially, and then use those to further progress in the round. There is still a chance here for Viltrex maybe to catch one, but I doubt anyone from Apekz will really be pushing in a way that would give him a chance to get the kill. Being 11 health, it's unlikely that he'd be able to take any sort of actual challenge in towards the bomb site. And yeah, he's really just hoping someone's going to make a mistake, as you can see, just chilling.
Yeah, taking a moment, right? Hoping that he gets exit frag or a rifle to save, but... Well, I mean, Tenerife Titans, if nothing
Dennis
else...
is pushing a little bit.
Dennis wants to probably get a bit more main control, but, you know, I wouldn't want to risk his...
Oh, good. Oh, health anyway. I was a bit afraid, though, because that's how you get the shot, the chance with the deagle.
Yep, exactly. And not just that. Usually that's how the CTs lose the majority of their bank, right? They go in one by one, they allow some solo engagements, and then the next round they lose and they're broken, and, you know, all of a sudden the cycle begins again. But unfortunately for Tenerife Titans, they'll have to go for the cycle of Deagles once more. It's going to be 4 Deagles and a Glock that Double Magic wields, of course, saving for that up. The double up for Apekz seemed to be the right port of call, though, and they seem to be very, very much confident with this choice. And in case somebody's wondering, the second up has just joined the fray in towards B, and they'll be able to hold the line, well, as any other. And a great start again already. Truth opening it up in Ivy. Tenerife Titans, this round is, well, should be gone before long.
Yeah, I like the setup here, though, with the 2 of them around Heaven. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, Marceli's going to take a shot. You have one then watching the lower ramp. Nice flash. Not nice enough, apparently, though. Apekz has an easy time getting the double spray down. Nice little adjustment as well, back onto the legs of the second player. Yeah, Sereni, unfortunately, just left behind right now. If you can get one kill, at least plus some sort of a dent in the economy of Apekz, that would be nice. Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think they're aware of the fact that the op was up on this angle yet either, unfortunately. Or at least weren't sure if he would still be in that position. But yeah, 3-3. Apekz doing a pretty good job at recovering from initially losing the pistol round, and now is when we really see what Tenerife Titans are going to be able to do. Again, for anyone who's just joining us, have a look at the top right side of your screen. This is the map choice of Tenerife Titans. So despite that good start, they definitely do want to be adding at least a few more rounds here to their T side. And they've got plenty of time to do that, so we'll see if they're going to be able to grind it out. Importantly, though, back on the up, back on the rifles, and no real lack of utility either for the T side here. So they should be able to make whatever sort of plans they could have in mind happen. Or at least attempt them.
That's the thing, they'll have at least an option here to try and play out a strategy in their mind, and we can see right now it's going to be more of a default approach. You've already said previously that the CTs, they did a little bit of an interesting build up in towards B upper and towards Catwalk. That double setup in Heaven is a very nice way of putting yourself in a bit of a safety net, where one of the players is watching down lower and the other with the op is basically scoping into high heavens. With that setup, usually you're able to find the first entry for free, and then with the rifle being that close to upper, you can either infiltrate upper easily or you can still have defense ready at the moment's notice. And point being that Apekz, they don't shy away from a bit of a challenging and a bit of an aggressive stance, and certainly that gives them an upper hand over Tenerife Titans. And right now, Dennis, this is a dangerous endeavor. He's going into main, he's about to be checked, but the pop flash is not going to be enough as Dennis still finds only one. With Viltrix able to keep it down low on a 4v4, 34 seconds. Time is ticking. Double magic ready for Truth, and here we go.
Yeah, Truth going down is what really spirals this now out of control, I would say, for Apekz. I was gonna say at least that got a lot of info for Dennis. It may still work out here, though, for Apekz. As you can see, Ekez rotated in, actually managed to get one kill, and at that point, looked like he was maybe going to be able to be a nuisance for that bomb plant there, but no, didn't matter. Tenerife Titans able to just sweep up all 3 final kills within the space of a couple of seconds right there, and with that now, bringing themselves up towards 4. And yeah, they have a chance. If they get this round here, then the money again will be broken down for Apekz. They've only got the 1900 loss bonus, which would be nowhere near enough to buy. So potential here for Tenerife Titans to go up to even 6 rounds off the back of winning this one, which already at that point to be a pretty decent T-side, and anything they could add to it would just be fantastic. So we'll see if that's going to be a possibility or not. I'm sure Apekz realize how important this round is right now if they want to be coming out with a strong CT side.
Well, Apekz will come out flying. Unfortunately for him, Sharani is ready, and as you said, Apekz definitely realize how important it is. And unfortunately for them, they won't really have much of an answer to that first loss. Truth is about to peek into Ivy. He might get the drop on Double Magic. The angle here for Double Magic is actually a bit off, although right now Truth is the one that's a bit off. And Double Magic, 3 frags for days. Who wouldn't want to pick that one up? With Apekz being left alone, or excuse me, with Apekz being left in the gutter in this case. Marcelius, he needs to hold B while both Dennis and Gruss focus on A together. And I love the fact Gruss is going aggro into main. They do need more control. They're currently just kind of veering off the angles and playing the standard ones, which is not going to give them any sort of upper hand. And ooh, wow, they're actually reading this perfectly. Even though they have no information, they're actually reading this like an open book. All 3 on B, and the bomb is going B. Sharani first contact. Now the bomb will go back towards A because of that. Still, though, this is a doable round if you ask me.
I think the issue is that Ivy player. Potentially, Kaluber could go ahead and stop him from actually watching Pop Dog, but as you can see, he decided not to. Marcelius just pops in and is popping off with that as well. The spam underneath the train, will it be able to do the damage it does? Not quite enough to get the kill nor stop the bomb plant, but that's not too big of a deal when they've already got the man advantage here and now only have Viltrex, who's actually healthy on this T side. He's going to have to do most of the work. I say most because Raftu did give him 1 kill to contribute and give it that little bit of help that would have been needed. Unfortunately, it will not be enough. Apekz, they're able to sweep up the retake, and with that, the defuse is going to be found. Plenty of time left, only 2 surviving, so we'll see how exactly the money's going to look. I think Truth has enough to... Apekz has plenty to buy for himself, actually, so we might see the drops being given to Truth and Dennis, potentially just for the extra nades to come out. At least Dennis has gotten one indeed. Truth with the AWP, so they're straight back onto this double op setup as well. But yeah, Tenerife Titans, they're able to buy again. Being on the T side, I don't think they'd be too worried if they kept trading back and forth like this, but ideally they do want to break that economy down like I had said, so they'll be looking to try and return it here pretty quickly while they still have that ability.
Well, you can see that Tenerife Titans won't be dissuaded by a simple loss, but they are being pressured a little bit into their own corners. Out all of there is Viltrex. Kaluber pushing into Ivy. There's an angle. He might actually make it work, and he's about to make it work. There we go. Finds himself 1. That's Truth. Unfortunately, Double Magic had been caught just beforehand, so it doesn't really put them into too good of a position. Gruss going to be spotted in Heaven, though. Rafter with a free one. And this is a problem. Dennis cannot die here. He cannot be afforded to die. Luckily enough, he's keeping a fair distance between. Also the bomb. Look at where the bomb is.
Yeah, they left it behind. I'm not sure where exactly that kill came in from Apekz either. I think it was over towards Pop Dog. And as you said, now they need to go back and retrieve the bomb. The op is still watching this angle and indeed finally able to get that kill on Kaluber. That was so patient right there by both of those players. Neither wanted to peek and give away the kill. But yeah, eventually Kaluber had to give it a go so that he could cover off for Raftu to try and approach back towards the bomb site. But now he's just left alone to do that. 1-on-3. No one on the bomb site itself. Instead, just Apekz in the old lines, and then in the back lines rather, and then you had Mercelius obviously around Ivy. Emphasis on had because he has been taken out, but now with 20 seconds left, Raftu, yeah, it would have been so difficult even for him to try and get that bomb down. He really did need one more kill to put it into the one-on-one before he planted. So I didn't mind the idea of him trying to actually take that fight on towards Ivy again. Unfortunately, the Glil, certainly not the ideal weapon. But yeah, Apekz, they've come back now with a couple of rounds in a row for themselves, and with that are sitting with 5 of the last 6. So it's definitely beginning to build a little bit in terms of the momentum right now for the Norwegian side, or for the majority Norwegian side anyway, and should be building that little bit easier as well, considering right now they're going up against an Eco. And even then, there's not really anything being upgraded. What is it? 1 P250 and 1 Tech 9? I wouldn't imagine a lot is going to happen here. Although this is a very passive hole. This normally gives a good chance to that bomb plant. A good chance, but no, not this time.
I mean, when you have Apekz with the M4, that good chance becomes a very bad chance. And, well, no chance is a bad chance, but unfortunately in this case, it's more like, you know, even if they had a chance, they had no chance. So 6-4 and Apekz, it is going to be taking the lead finally, bringing themselves about. And with Tenerife Titans trailing a little bit in economy as well, not being able to get those bomb plants, it's starting to show, it's starting to appear at them. Double magic, great start though. Mercelius gonna be caught. That's really good because now with Truth pushing into Ivy, there's definitely an angle that, or definitely a chance that Tenerife Titans might take this lead a little bit forward. And yeah, double magic, there's another one. I'm not even sure why Truth is so exposed in Ivy, why he's putting himself in such grave danger, especially given that they lost the entry. And yeah, he wants to refrag, he wants to even the odds. Unfortunately, in this case, he just made it a lot worse.
Yeah, that's the risk. High risk, high reward. If he got the kill, it would have been evened back up, and Apekz would have been feeling much, much better. Instead, now they have so much pressure on their shoulders to try and clutch back this round, and yeah, it's really not going to be an easy task. For now, not looking like Tenerife Titans have a set in stone either where they're going to make the commitment. That is the bomb above Pop Dog, so it could be over towards B, especially considering the fact, obviously, that, as we can see, Groose is in towards Pop Dog right now, so that'd be an interesting position to try and approach back towards. The issue is, I don't think they're going to need to, because already in opening on towards B from Viltrex, will they commit with this? Because honestly, he could wrap this around through connector right now. It looked like the player in Pop Dog was about to back out as well, so I thought that was going to give room for them to go forward. But nah, eventually just going back towards B. But they haven't spotted Dennis in the back lines. That's the issue. He's in behind Isle right now. Could maybe catch them. And up to get one.
Oh,
not the
Dennis.
ideal weapon, but he's making it work. Unfortunately, that third shot just a tiny bit off of the mark, and his teammate in towards Pop Dog not going to be finding any success either. Yeah, Dennis, that was a nice attempt right there. Unfortunately, wasn't able to get that third kill, which if he had of, probably would have given them the at least the possibility for the round at that point. But yeah, 6-5. Apekz, they've still got some money here, but they're in trouble if they lose this round. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, they are. I mean, it's what I pointed out earlier, just a round ago. The Titans have an issue with economy now. Of course, Apekz are no different, and having invested double up again into this round, it puts them on the edge. It puts them literally on the precipice of a complete economical, well, you could say, downfall. And this B attempt yet again coming through, double magic already aiming down the line in towards connector. This is perfect because if he gets the drop on one of the players once more, that opens up a venue of attack that Tenerife Titans previously didn't have. And the pressure they're starting to show here and put on Apekz is also being built every single second. Gruss, he's again in Pop. He's holding the line to make sure the double drop doesn't succeed. The nade is perfect. The double pop. It's going to be a bit delayed. Still enough shot, and he's solo, and he gets the kill. That's as good as it gets right now. With pop control achieved, and with that little utility that Apekz have, it's going to be now impossible for the retakes. And oh, Dennis! Yeah.
Yeah, that was risky. I was hoping that he was maybe going to have a flash go in, and honestly, that drop even on Pop Dog without the nade probably wouldn't have got the kills. So this is being very well played by Tenerife Titans. Can they close it is the question? Probably. I mean, Viltrek's already shutting down the flanker. They just need to ensure they deal with the upper on the bomb site, and of course the op in the back lines as well. So it is still the two hops that are in play. That can be a little bit intimidating once they start rattling off shots, especially if they connect the first couple, which is exactly what's happened. Marcelius is unstoppable right now, and they still don't know where Truth is. Unfortunately, that timing doesn't work out. He actually allows for a player to creep through Ivy, so that will give them the bomb plant now. But they just keep on peeking Marcelius. Why not? Truth is going to take one as well, and now it's all on Sereni. 5 health. Fortunately, they have ops, so if they miss the shots, it doesn't matter, but they're not going to. Marcelius just doesn't care. They keep on peeking him. He hits it every single time.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward how, you know, they had such an advantage. They really had everything going for themselves. Unfortunately, in the end, as you say, they give Marcelius a chance. 1 by 1, exactly. And 16 frags is where Marcelius is at right now. This is getting insane. He really is putting up the numbers. And we can see on the side of Tenerife Titans, with the plant secured, they get a little bit of economy on the side. Kaluber and Shadani will have to make do with what they can, and that will probably entail, well, for Kaluber, headless or helmetless AK or a Galil. Shadani, just an AK and full Kevlar. But it's a little bit awkward when you literally have the round already in your hand. The only thing you have to do is crush it and, you know, basically push it together. But here, yeah, Marcelius given a lot of freedom and a lot of control. And, well, the result is quite evident. Small timeout called out there by Titans, looking to perhaps find a way back into this game and this round more specifically.
It'll be interesting to see if Apekz are willing to keep up that sort of aggression, and I don't think so, especially as they've already lost the player over towards, I believe that was Ivy right there, with Truth unfortunately going down. So one of the ops being dropped, one of those weapons that had a ridiculous amount of impact in the previous round, so we'll see how that's going to affect them. At least Dennis has been able to get some counter control around main, so that should limit Tenerife Titans a little bit. In theory, could give Apekz the ability to stack up slightly towards B with a second player at least. So we'll see if that's the decision that they make, because it would be the correct one. As we can see on the radar right now, 4 of those T players have already grouped up in the halls and are ready to go on towards B, where unfortunately it's only an MP9 to hold down. And it's only able to find the 1. There was an opportunity maybe for the second right there, but a little bit too hard to reset the control. And I was going to say at this point, unless they get a quick kill, they could save, but I think that's probably going to influence them now to go forward. The 3-on-3 is certainly winnable. The issue is, in terms of nades, just a single flash, and the flank even coming in from Kaluber.
Oh boy, here comes the press of the bomb, forcing the peak now. There has to be a challenge. Double Magic doesn't even care about it as Kaluber takes out Marcelius. Dennis is literally deleted off the server. Gruss now, knowing there's another one in towards upper. He does not have time to do anything about it, though. Shadani saves himself and saves the game, subsequently the round. And even then, Gruss dies to the bomb explosion. What a devastating end here. Apekz, after a single-man performance out of Marcelius the previous, now it's Dennis and Marcelius that failed to deliver. And I'm a little bit surprised. I mean, Marcelius had a free shot on whoever would have jumped down ramp, and he still was not able to connect. Now, that happens because Kaluber helps him out with that peak, but again, it's just a little bit of a sad ending, and the economy takes a wild turn. Apekz in dire trouble. They have Deagles and a single MP9. This is not what I envisioned for them, given how well it looked after that victory. Okay, again, pushing into mid. I'm not sold on this idea, because if you want to go push in, right, push in together. You have a few utilities, use them, right?
That's what I was going to say, just preferably not alone, so that they can attempt to at least trade out these situations. We've seen in many of these rounds now, honestly, Tenerife Titans been able to find the openings, and that's partly because Apekz are so willing to take those early fights, which, yeah, again, haven't been going the greatest for them. Only pistols in play right now, so we're not expecting too much in this round, but that likely means that Tenerife Titans are going to be sitting on 7 here on the T side, which is respectable. Even if they end up losing that last round of the half, rather, 7 is still a position they would be feeling pretty comfortable with. Dennis, I believe that is hiding in the back of the bomb site. Indeed. I was going to say maybe he can get something done with the Deagle again. That's the position we had seen him get the double from earlier, but nah, this time they won't allow it. Viltrex clears out the angle and ends it with a couple of quick headshots for himself. So yeah, 7-7. As I said now, Tenerife Titans are feeling good, so it really does come down to Apekz needing this final round of the half for themselves, and unfortunately, it's not all that great. Obviously, they buy what they can, but it's some Deagles, it's one scout, and it's very few nades with no kid either behind it. So I'm a bit worried here. It looks like Tenerife Titans may actually be able to win out this half.
It does look like it, doesn't it? And well, let's see. Dennis, he's going to take pop control. Usually it was Gruss going for this, and they're going to leave Apekz alone on B. Now, I'm not particularly sold on the fact that Truth, the only one with the scout with a very deadly weapon, to say the least, is playing from the back lines of Ivy. But wait a second, they're rotating all towards B. Their call seems to be, or their read seems to be, that this is going to be a B attempt, yet instead there's a bit of an A fake, or at least an A execution yet to be fully committed to. With Rafter moving out all off and now Caliber joining him, it does look like A will be hit. The bomb is entering the fray, and Tenerife Titans, they're not joking when they go A, although they're waiting a long time. The smokes have already passed. I'm not particularly sure how they tend to finish this one off, but Apekz, on the other hand, they're not even responding. Like, they're dead set on holding B still. It's quite an insane round in itself right now.
Yeah, no, this retake really shouldn't be possible. What they have available, as I had already said, no kit, very few nades, but they do have a couple of flashes, which were utilized pretty well to give the initial room there for Dennis to move forward out at least through IV. Did lose the rest of his teammates in that area, and Mercelius, nice little headshot. Honestly, though, unless Tenerife Titans peek everyone 1 by 1 like they did before, this shouldn't be losable, I was going to say, but it seems to be. All down to double magic, and yeah, easily getting that final player. Dennis, as I had said, no kit. He had to just go ahead and stick the bomb, so it really was down to that player up close to main that needed to get the kill pretty much. And once he didn't double magic, he had an easy time ending it. 8-7, Tenerife Titans, as I said, feeling fantastic with how that T side is gone. And now, especially if they can pick up the pistol here to kick off their CT side at that point, they're going to be looking real good to go ahead and claim their own map choice here. But we'll see. Apekz, especially with how aggressive they were in Giant playing there on the CT side of train, I would imagine that they might feel maybe a little bit more comfortable here on T.
Likewise, I would think that they would they will enjoy their time on T more than anything else. They had a slow start to begin with. They lost the first 3, which really bumped them down on the CT and forced them to play from the back seat already. And in this case, they're going to be handling a little bit differently their approach. As Viltrex finds the first, taps away. He is headshotted, but double magic. He's going to make a double setup here, and this might actually work with Apekz slowing down. They're going to be coming into a site with 3 players, and Mercelius spots the first, doesn't check the lower player, though, and that's going to be Viltrex with the second, even at 10 HP, a third, and Viltrex and double magic are more than enough to hold the line. As the second pistol likewise goes to Tenerife Titans, 9-7. I am properly surprised by this, and they are playing very well right now.
That was fantastic. Yeah, no, they're looking really great. I mean, there was a few moments on the first half that looked a bit shaky, but overall, they were looking like the better team, and I guess are still to this point, especially since they just stomped up that pistol round. But yeah, I mean, this one anyway should be quite easy. It's pretty much the full eco coming in from Apekz. They're more so focused on just trying to get those actual guns out as early as they possibly can, and that's understandable. You don't want to let the CTs get too big of a lead before you're able to start getting rounds on the board. The only issue is they're not going to have the greatest of nades. They also won't be able to get the upper in this next round, so we'll see how that'll affect them, because obviously Mercelius definitely being probably the most impactful player here so far, has always been just a fantastic player as well, since he's been around now for quite a few years. So I think definitely if he's lacking that offer in the next round, it could be a little bit hurtful for them.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there. Gruestarn's just able to walk up and with the Glock from above, rain down hell on Sereni. Thankfully, it's just the MP9, so the one SMG that they had brought in. The rest of the players working with rifles and a scout, but it looks like it's also going to give them a bomb plant. So that's a pretty big W.
This is a pretty big W indeed, and, you know, considering that they were not sticking to the W, that pretty much is a bit of a surprise. Gruss finds a second. That's now coming out to be a bit of a dangerous road the Tenerife Titans are trailing. Luckily enough, Double Magic keeps it as clean as possible, and only losing 2 players is not the worst of it, but as you said, with the bomb down and with the 2 frags, with Gruss even getting 1 with an MP9, that's more than enough economy to buy up that op to allow for a proper round and a proper gun round to be had. And now the interesting part and the interesting battle comes up. This is where it's all going to be decided. If Tenerife Titans can establish themselves as the dominant force and pick up the 11th, potentially the 12th right behind it, Apekz are going to start feeling that sense of despair. That's definitely going to be setting in, and we've seen in the past Apekz, they definitely do rely a little bit on their early momentum and just generally positive notes, and there's not much positive they can now take over round. They will get frustrated and they'll start to, let's say, make mistakes. We've seen that in the past a lot.
Yeah, already the opening kill towards Tenerife Titans. This is looking good for the CT side. I'm wondering if Apekz, I think they may have been considering going for a really quick B hit there. I think more so as they begin to rotate some players back in that direction, we're able to fake it out a little bit, maybe force some nades out of the hands of the CTs. And I believe want to try and get themselves the pop dog control now. So open up the options. Don't make it as, I guess, predictable, which is what you're going to need when you're going against a team that currently has more players on the board. But yeah, let's see where exactly this is ended, because it's 50 seconds left. And honestly, if Apekz lose this round, at that point, probably going to go down 12-7, and the game will really begin to get out of their hands. So yeah, they don't want to let that happen. It does look like B is going to be the goal, just because of the fact that the bomb is over there. But they've also got 1 player in Pop Dog, and then also Marcelius having to rotate around. Only now going to be joining up with the rest of them. As a second player around B, there's also the ability for a quick rotation in from another true connector. So we'll see. Tenerife Titans, they have a decent setup over towards B to hold this down. In terms of the nades, not much to slow the actual push, but they do have the players, so we'll see if the shots can be connected. And indeed, at least from Sereni initially, he is able to. Dennis goes down. That was a pretty important frag, and then on towards the bomb site, the man who had planted the bomb itself now being eliminated. It looks like indeed Tenerife Titans, they clean it up. They just, I guess with having Sereni there, just staying alive on the bomb site for so long, it was so easy for them, because most of the focus for those Apekz players was taken towards that position.
Exactly so. With Chardonnay being kept alive for as long as he was, it really just built that unease and the feeling of no control for Apekz, forcing them to take either dire attempts at firefights or generally not being aware of the potential that Chardonnay can, you know, pounce on them from any given moment. Timeout going to be called. They'll take a moment for themselves and start to try and perhaps break down what went wrong and how they can improve on that. But if we're completely honest right now, a lot of things are going wrong and none of them can really be improved in a single moment. Apekz, first of all, I think they just, I mean, they get to site. That's the best part. They're getting onto site. They're getting the bomb plants even, yet the way they handle the afterplan, the way they're then being handled is what really is scary. And Pistols and Kevlar is where it's at right now. They don't really have a choice. And I gotta be honest, Tenerife Titans, they are performing much better than I expected. And this is a welcome change, as Apekz is having to work their demons from the within first. Well, they have a few flashbangs and a single smoke. How did they handle this? Where the hell did they go? It does look like it will be an A attempt. Yes, it is.
Oh, just as the smoke was fading away right there, Galuber hitting a nice little headshot, and Yeah, this should be easy enough. We're seeing actually Viltrex closing the distance a small bit. It was slightly worrying me because there is a player hiding in Olaf that he wasn't initially aware of, but all good. Not even a single point of damage being taken, let alone any players lost. So yeah, Tenerife Titans, they are looking good, looking fantastic here. Able to kick off with the 4 opening rounds here, of course, of their CT side, and if they can manage to pick up this second gun round now as well, at that point, Apekz are probably going to have to be thinking about Vertigo. So this is getting into do or die territory for the Norwegians, and I guess their one Swedish guest.
You make it sound so pretty. It's like the one Swedish guest, the poor guy, having to live with all the Vikings.
I'm sure Dennis is having some fun with them.
No, obviously, yeah, he is, but unfortunately not against Double Magic, and, well, I guess it's in the name, isn't it? The Double Magic, and gets himself the quick drop on Dennis. Luckily, Marcelius is ready through main, through Electro already out, and where is the rest of Tenerife Titans? What is going on right here? Wait a second, what the heck?
I said the up was what they were lacking in that first gun round.
Exactly, and they did, and I mean, again, it's back to 2v2. We spoke too soon, perhaps, in for the round itself, but Tenerife Titans, they seem to be completely oblivious to Marcelius there, pushing out like that, and for the rest of Apekz likewise, and let's see if the Titans here can perhaps reign supreme once more and put themselves up on the 13. Ouch.
Yeah, no, not ideal. They had fantastic openings from Marcelius, and it's somehow still come down to this position. Grizzarn left in the 1-on-2. Smoke on the bomb as well. He still knows it's a rough position, and actually done some pretty good damage there initially onto Double Magic, but in the end, it just doesn't matter. Kaluber over the top of the smoke was able to get the spam in. Both ops are going to be retrieved for Tenerife Titans for the double op setup, and as I had said, with that gun round going in favor of Tenerife Titans, they are getting so close to that finish line. At least the bomb goes down, so it's not like Apekz are going to be putting another eco, so that's what I was kind of thinking about initially, where that it would be 14-7 pretty much after that round. It shouldn't be, as you can see, Apekz are going to be buying. Yeah, but this one just holds even more weight now than that previous round, and for Apekz to now make this comeback, they need to be near flawless. At most, they would want to be just losing the one round so that they could still actually get the win in regulation. So yeah, getting more than just out of control at this point, and they themselves realizing that they call in a little bit of a pause here. They want to have a chat, see exactly what way they're going to buy up in this round and what the plan's going to be, because as I said, they need this round.
They do need this round, and I mean, they're going to have the firepower, right? They're going to have the utility. But the way they approached the previous was, I'm not going to say it was wonky, just, I mean, it was good actually, pushing out main like that. They had an entry. They had Marcelius popping off heads. Thing is, they never really capitalized on top of that. They still allowed Double Magic and find 2 in return, and a 2v2 that went the way for Tenerife Titans, and something they cannot allow to happen. And right now, we're going to have a bit of a fake towards A. Apekz trying to sell this one, as Tenerife Titans might be a little bit unawares what is coming their direction, especially towards B. Here comes the execution, though. Dennis alone out lower. What is going on here? There's a player in heaven, but Gruss is not even pushing forward. And still, the third player has joined this defense. Kaluber already connecting the dots on A, making sure that this does not work. Sharony takes a bit of a wild guess and fails in it. As Double Magic lines up a few shots, but doesn't take them.
Yeah, Meanie lets Raftu do it instead. The nade's going over, doing some fantastic damage, and yeah, Raftu just continues to hit headshots behind them. A little bit of assistance from those HEs was all that was needed for the rifle to frag out, and for eventually Double Magic to go ahead and take a shot. 1 for each of the ops, 2 for Raftu, so it was really Viltrex who didn't get to contribute, unfortunately, or it could have been the teammates. But obviously Tenerife Titans, as long as they get that round win. But yeah, no. It's always nice when you get the teammates. Everyone gets to contribute. No one feels left out, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
I'm sure Apekz are feeling a little bit left out, though, at the moment. They haven't won a round in a while.
It's been a minute, basically. Yeah, 6 rounds in a row. The Titans, after winning the pistol, they seem to be truly Titans in their own category, not allowing for a single moment of respite here, as Apekz, of course, rebuying. The plant is not really going to be, you know, that big of a problem. Double Magic, though, opens it up again. Once more, it's the upper B Brown Hall's Peak that he gets the entry with. Apekz forced into a different direction, and they're going to be pushing in through through Ivy. I understand that. There's 2 players holding the line. Marcelia still finds one. That's a great beginning if I've ever seen one. Kaluga needs to be careful. Raftu, though, he's holding it. And Dennis comes out pop at least. 3v3. This is a doable round for Apekz all of a sudden.
Yeah, but we've seen it before. Even just previously when Marcelius had given them those openings and they still weren't able to close it out. So hopefully, if you're an Apekz fan, for the sake of the Apekz fans and for the Apekz players right now, so no one has a heart attack, hopefully they'll be able to actually do something with this 3-on-3. But let's see, because Raftu's still in towards the hell position right now. I didn't think it was expected. But as you can see, Apekz apparently was watching it, thankfully. So he's going to fall, and with that now left onto the 2 ops, I think Kalubar may actually have to drop on this main player. He had just checked this, so yeah, not going to be expecting him to be there now so quickly. So indeed, Kalubar able to give them one opening, and with that, maybe take some of the attention to let Double Magic move forward as well. And indeed, catches Dennis off guard. This one is falling apart yet again. The whiffed spray from Truth.
No,
that ain't the truth, bro.
Supposed to happen.
Well, that's a little bit heartbreaking. The little, I guess, kissy face or whatever the hell that was. Either way, 15-7, 8 rounds in the difference. Tenerife Titans have been just so solid, especially since they swapped over to the CT side. But even their T side was fantastic. I felt like on T side, maybe some of their success was a little bit more from the fact that Apekz were so aggressive and were giving them the chances for those early openings. But here on the CT side, they've just been playing incredible. Obviously, Apekz, we've already pointed out, they've had a few iffy moments here as well on their opening matchup, but on their opening one. But first map of the morning, it can happen sometimes. It's just a bit upsetting here, but we'll see. Vertigo up next, their own map choice. I hope we'll be seeing more from them there, but ideally, I'd also like to see them give us a bit more here on Train first, even if they don't manage to come back with the win.
I have to absolutely agree with that, even if in case, you know, this is still going to be ending like we're feeling it with 16-2 X result for Tenerife Titans. As long as they are at least able to close the gap a little bit, right, and build up their resilience, perhaps, their mental fortitude a bit more, that they don't go on to Vertigo completely and utterly devastated. I mean, we should expect Apekz to win Vertigo, given that it is their best map effectively. They have, what, a 86% win ratio and something of the like. But still, it's definitely concerning when they are being handled like this, easy as this, by the Titans on Train. A map that you would expect Apekz to at least be well prepared to handle. And so far, they seem to be handling the round pretty well. I mean, 2 frags for free, 1 shot in Eon upper, Raftu in pop. And this should be a save by the Titans, most likely. And
definitely now, yeah. No other option once Viltrex has gone down, especially with the double up setup being in play. I mean, they've got a good bit of money. We do have to look at that. In theory, they could try and get a couple exits, but it is only the 2 players, I was going to say, with the ops that actually have that economy. The rest of them are going to pretty much need to drop apart from Viltrex. So ideally, keeping one of them would be nice. At this point, only 3 players alive for Apekz as well. That's a little bit of damage. Obviously, it's a position where Apekz can't afford to lose a round anyway. So really, the only sort of damage you can do is by limiting the current investment, which I don't think he's done enough of here, because with 3 surviving, they should be able to drop those 2 weapons pretty easily. So yeah, I think his hope was to be able to get one more exit there before going down. Either way, though, Apekz, importantly, they get the round for themselves. They keep it alive for now, and I mean, we've seen positions like this many times where initially we don't believe, but after a couple of gun rounds, suddenly it is much closer. So we'll see if they can keep this up, if they can break the economy off the back of this round. Suddenly they're on double digits, and then it's beginning to look quite a bit more likely. So I don't want to count them out completely right now.
No, neither do I, yet we have to see to believe, don't we? And as they say, seeing is believing. And, well, in this case, that Warcraft 3 sound cue certainly comes in true. Gruss, that nade is definitely going to enrage him. Not even seeing an enemy and losing 50% of the HP is always a hassle, and Marcelius wins the engagement against Raftu. Viltrex holding the line in pop, and Gruss, that second nade could do some serious damage. It does. Viltrex down to 16, but the damage, or the return, has already been made here as Viltrex is still able to control pop. A bit of an execution coming out from Apekz. Double magic is ready for it. Marcelius is going to be caught in the cross. And we spoke about how not a single loss or not a single moment here for Apekz is allowed to be lost, and unfortunately for them, okay,
Ouch.
he had a bit of a. I think he saw him perhaps on the left side, but that looked insane. And now
He must have.
I mean, yeah, I'd imagine so, but again, it's like, what in the world now? Truth and Gruss. Gruss, he's at 50 as well. It's like, damn. Good luck, mates. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, some quick headshots pretty much are going to need to be here as they go forward so that they can keep it as clean as possible to get that bomb planted and try and play out the after plant then. The issue is, I think Viltrex is about to spot Grussarn, and yeah, even then immediately, pretty much instantaneous.
What we do here is go back.
Yeah, they ended T side. Yeah, they ended T side. They started CT side. You're right. You're right. Your memory is better than mine. And right now it's still early morning.
I just remember the Marselius 3K and stuff towards the end. So
yeah,
T side.
He really pulled it off. Well, what we're pulling off as well is Esports Millions, ladies and gents. Go check that out if you want to win a few $1 million or just $1 million. I don't know if that's enough for you, but if it is, you can check it out at esm.grid.gg, and you can check out all the details how to potentially get that there. In any case, ladies and gents, it's our second map, as you said, Dean, and it is Vertigo, the map choice of Apekz, the best map they have in the pool, the best map they've played up to this date, statistically and otherwise. Let's see how that serves them here.
Yeah, I'm expecting a lot more than Train, at least, here from Apekz, so it'll be interesting to see how they fare, but yeah, Tenerife Titans as well, we don't know what exactly to expect from them. But if they're to perform anything like Train, then I would imagine we could have a close game here in our hands. A very slow approach so far. Bit of a contrast to what we were seeing back on Train as well. It looked like they wanted to initially go out mid, but it seems like they're going to give up on that for now. Begin to back off and maybe bring this over towards the ramp. See, I believe Kaluber had actually heard the steps of Grusarn, who'd gotten aggressive. So as long as they clear this corner, they could have an early frag now to move on towards A. But oh, yeah, that's the issue. Too many players. Surely one of them eventually checked that corner. And although it was the third player, it was still in time to stop any kills from coming in. So now Truth and Dennis rotating in as quick as they can. As you see the smokes going down, it should give room for those Glocks to get up close with that. Probably plant the bomb as well. Although for now, it's been delayed a small bit. Marselius even snatching one kill back, but still, with a man disadvantage and with no kick currently in their possession, this is going to be an incredibly difficult retake.
Indeed it will. We can see Apekz is trying to approach from a bit of a wider angle. He's aware of Cement being overtaken, but two players on short likewise need to be taken care of. As Marselius finds the first, that's a great start. Viltrex just deleted off the server. 3v3, the man advantage gone. Still not the positional disadvantage though. And right now coming in hot Apekz. Kaluber takes down one. Marselius is able to do nothing but watch how his teammates die around him. And more specifically, that will be Apekz as Tenerife Titans. They picked themselves up the first and the pistol. Yet again, they won both on Train. Now they won the first on Vertigo. It's as good of a start as any. And considering this is the choice of Apekz and they again start CT side, excuse me, it does beg the question. If we see a similar beginning as we saw on Train, is Apekz going to be confident enough to be able to pull it back home and actually win the map for a difference? Now, it's early days, of course, but I always like to put it up like that, you know, just a slight tingle in the back of your mind, always kind of considering weighing all the odds.
Yeah, it's always fun to speculate. Honestly, as I had said, I do think Tenerife Titans are going to give us a strong showing here on Vertigo. Whether they can get the win, honestly, I have no idea. Because if it's a map that they aren't too familiar with, then I would say it's going to be tough for them. But the fact that they were obviously willing to let it go through into the series would indicate that they should at least know how to play it. So yeah, it'll be interesting, but Apekz, I'm still expecting more from them, especially once they can actually get the guns and such rolling. But we'll see what this Force Bike can do. An MP9, a Scout, some Deagles definitely can deal out the damage. A few shots rather connecting from the Scout, and then the MP9 and the Deagles could have quite a bit of impact. So we'll see how this goes. Indeed, already quite a bit of damage being done. Small bit returned onto Dennis, but they were able to deal out a substantial amount, especially on towards Viltrex, who, yeah, pretty quickly gets finished off. The damage didn't even matter because Grusarn just hits the headshot with that Deagle. Only 40 seconds left, so this likely is to be that full-on A commitment, but they have been slowed down massively, and as we can see, there is already a stack around this A bomb site. Thankfully, Raptor actually picks up the opening with that Mach 10 going forward. They cannot stop Grusarn. He's already got himself 3, eventually going down. But it's all on double magic now. 1 on 3. It looks like they've done it. They should have stolen this force buy away, and indeed they have. Nice little upgrade to an 8k there for Marcelius as well. 1-1 Apekz, they do it. That's much better. We've seen on train, obviously, Tenerife Titans, they were able to get that pistol as well. They went to 3-0, and only then did Apekz begin to actually build up rounds on their CT side. So being able to contribute a little bit here, a little bit earlier on here, and to give themselves the ability to potentially take this control is fantastic after what they just came off of back on train. They need to get some confidence going early on, which is exactly what they'll find if they can overcome this force buy. Again, we just seen it a second ago, though. You can never count these out. Words, they're hard sometimes.
Hey, man. They're just words.
Oh,
Dennis.
Thankfully gets 2. We had seen that aggression backfire so much on train that I was having a mini heart attack.
I never understand why it's always alone, though. It's like every single time you see aggression like that come through, it's only one player with a distant support coming in from somewhere in behind. So it scares you, right? Because you know how much and how quickly things can take a wild turn, a different turn. And in this case, Marcelius on middle. Is Sharon able to... No, never mind. He's not going to pull a Grusaren. He's not going to be able to... put a few headshots on the table. But yeah, overall, again, Tenerife Titans, they are... I don't think they're overly concerned about this. They know the dangers they face on this map. They know how difficult it will be in essence. And, I mean, any round they can get early on here as the tease, even if it is just a little bit of damage here and there, they're going to be happy with that. I guarantee you they were not expecting such a victory on train either. Or at least not such a direct victory.
Oh, the timing, yeah. As he gets into a position where both of them pretty much have the perfect angle on him is when they peak. So, yeah, well played by Apekz. They're able to ensure they don't lose too much against that force buy. Dennis should be able to reinvest here pretty easily. Maybe even drop the weapon. We'll see what way they do it. I was thinking perhaps Grusaren was going to throw it over to him just so he could get the full nades, but I believe they've managed. They must have already had it on the ground right there, apparently. Oh, yeah, because Marcelius, I think, had the op on the ground. So, yeah, they're all good. They've got everything here. Obviously going to be going up against the Eco, so they want to ensure that they don't lose any of this, ideally. Otherwise, they'll be paying a hefty price for the reinvestment in the following round. So, really aiming here to not lose a single player, especially considering how little Tenerife Titans have into this round. A very slow round from Tenerife Titans. Can you blame them? Apekz, they love going forward, even when they're here on the CT side. So, yeah, Tenerife Titans kind of just hoping that someone from Apekz will charge towards them and maybe give those pistols a bit of a chance to pick up an opening and ideally steal away a weapon. That would be very nice as well.
I mean, that's definitely a possibility, and we've seen in the past Glocks and even just P250s being enough to surpass any sort of defense thrown at them. I love the fact they're focusing on middle. Marcelius actually missing a shot there. Gonna allow the passage through construction in towards B. Although, not more than that. Marcelius pulls out the pistol. Apekz holds the line alongside him. And that is more than enough. It is gonna be 3-1 and a perfect start. Apekz, after losing the pistol, being able to actually become the Apex Predator. They're now finally bringing it back home. Better late than never, as they say, and, you know, the pistol might have been a bit of a hiccup, but they seem to be pretty stable in the moment. 0 frags for Viltrex still as well. He's having a bit of a slower start here to the second map, and oh, Raftu, what a shot! That was a little bit crazy indeed.
Yeah, the little B hop over, and yeah, well played by Marcelius. That is some balls of steel right there, but we'll see if that's something we'll be able to do again. I think that's more of a once per half kind of play. But the fact that they brought it out in the first gun round here in a round that carries so much sway, it is what you want to be seeing. Unfortunately, Grusaren, he has been caught there playing around the scaffolding, so he is going to go down to Viltrex pretty quickly in return. And a 4-on-4, although it normally favors the T side, at least a bit of damage had been done on towards Viltrex, of course. So he's not healthy, but he's still fragging. It doesn't really seem to matter. Dennis, I'm not sure what happened there. I think he unfortunately moved his crosshair slightly out of position just as the peak had come in. As now, Tenerife Titans, they have the 4-on-3. If they can win out this round, the economy, it's decent for Apekz, sure. But they'd be spending it all to reinvest in the following round, and it would be given back that chance for Tenerife Titans to get some control here. So they do not want to let that happen. And you can see Apekz, at least he wants to go ahead and step up when it's needed. Marselius as well is going to have a chance pretty soon. Or at least I would imagine so. The issue is the smoke goes down just as that player creeps out. So it looks like Tenerife Titans, at least, they should be able to reach the bomb site, potentially get that bomb planted. And yeah, double magic. He catches Marselius, I believe, dropping back down right there out of the little boost position. Truth has followed himself up into the exact same spot, and he does have a flash coming over from a teammate. Perhaps he can do something with that, but as you've seen, there was a player playing anti-flash. So, yeah, at the moment, just being approached quite well by Tenerife Titans. They've got a strong setup. They were able to keep 2 players in position to ensure that double magic wasn't going to be pushed as he was getting that bomb planted. And as soon as they get it down, they rotate, of course, Calibar back around over towards the ramp so now that he can help out once needed. As soon as Apekz is spotted here, as soon as he takes any sort of step out towards the bomb site or into the open, he would have been peaked from ramp as well. So yeah, there was really no hope at all right there. He makes the correct decision, I would say, in backing away.
Yeah, he does. They need to keep as much money as possible in the bank. They will be able to rebuy, of course, but it's going to be fairly limited, or at least would be limited if Apekz wouldn't survive. And he can drop the op here to Marselius. Dennis going to buy one of his own, actually. Is it double? Yes, it is. Double trouble coming out, Dean. And I'm not particularly opposed to this. It worked out somewhat for them on train, and certainly we can see it work out here on Vertigo. There are angles, there are positions, there are certainly ways you can make it work. And we can see towards middle, it's going to be a bit of an innovative approach. Apekz going to go for this double trouble on towards middle as well. Gruss, is he going to... Okay, good pop flash. That's well enough done as Gruss will take the challenge, but still does not win against Shareni. What has just... How in the world does that happen? What? I'm a little bit lost for words, really. I am. I did not expect it. Gruss, that couldn't have come out worse. And, well... all of a sudden, the double aggression in middle didn't really pay off as well as intended, and Apekz, they only have a single man left on A.
Yeah, which is really not ideal. They do have Truth as well here, as of course Dennis then in the back with the AWP. So they've got the second in position now, I believe a third as well. So looking like they've made the correct decision, at least to stack up around this A bomb site. But we'll see how it goes for them now, as I believe the head of Dennis there was spotted. If he shows himself again, he's going to be in trouble. So thankfully he doesn't, knowing that with just 45 seconds left, they can play it a bit more passive, and that of course it's still Tenerife Titans who have the clock working against them. They're the ones who have to get on towards this bomb site before the time runs out. So they're willing to sit back a little bit more and wait for them to, I guess, just come to them. The issue is, once the push does come in, Kalubar is still able to find that initial opening. And I say initial opening because being returned pretty well overall by Apekz to actually drop it into the 2-on-2. Marselius, as you said, he's always having so much impact, and he keeps it going, pushed forward to be able to force that 1-on-1 up against Shareni. But Raftu, a man who was doing a great job back on train as well, left in this 1-on-1. This is extremely winnable. The flash in, he creates a bit of space so that he can, I was going to say could get off at a bomb site, but he decided to stick around and instead just take the fight once the push came in. And indeed, he is going to be able to find it. An upgrade even back to the up here as they win out the round. And as now Apekz, they do definitely look at an eco. I wouldn't imagine they can really even upgrade much here. Marselius perhaps could go for a pistol, but ideally he wants to keep his money towards the op in the following round. So a good chance here for Tenerife Titans to start building up some control, a bit of momentum for themselves. And oh yeah, here we get the replay of this drop down with the op from Marselius. He's been doing a great job, even back on train when they were kind of getting stomped out. Even on the T side, he had some pretty good rounds that unfortunately they weren't able to close out.
That was such a close call. A 1-on-2 by Raftu with Marselius on short. In the end, it still didn't prove to be enough. And I gotta be fair, man. They had like, what, 15 seconds for the bomb to be planted in Apekz?
Yeah.
Well, they made the decision to challenge, right? And unfortunately, in that case, the opportunity was taken by in that case, Raftu. And yeah, it was a little bit iffy.
Yeah, it probably wasn't needed. He definitely could have hit in, because having the player in the backlines as well, then he wouldn't have been able to plant this safely for either position, and he also wouldn't have had time to push forward and force the 1-on-1, because by that point then he wouldn't. I don't think he really would have had enough time to get back in and get the bomb planted, or at least he would have been cutting it very close. So yeah, definitely could have been played better by Apekz right there. There is absolutely zero denying that. You were definitely correct with what you said, Overseer, but we'll see if they can make up for it. The issue is they won't be able to quite yet. They'll have to wait a little while until they can get the guns out again. So they are, unfortunately, going to be likely just giving up another round here to Tenerife Titans.
I mean, they don't necessarily need to give it up per se, right? They just have to be innovative in their approach. And in this case, I like this. Going down a round, slow and steady. 2 players they're going to walk into, unfortunately. Innovation has nothing to do when you get blasted by about 60 bullets per second, and, you know, you don't really have anything to show for it. Marselius, he's the typical odd one out. You know, whenever you play matchmaking or face it, you've got 4 teammates going somewhere together, and then the one man is looking for those exits, is looking for those plays. Well, 4-3, as you said, Tenerife Titans. Not only are they going to take the lead, but they once again prove to be an established team, even on a map like Vertigo, where we didn't know what to expect. And I guess we at least can get an idea that they've practiced, they've prepared themselves for a map like this, and we can see their their anti-ecos were also well set up, with both players being down lower on of course, on Secret towards Hell and towards the cross of towards Bridge, with 2 players holding the line of the push. So, you know, they kind of were aware, they kind of kept an eye out for that. And it's always nice to see.
They have Marselius back on the op now, but my question is, do they keep up that same level of aggression that we've been seeing from them so far? Because, yeah, it has kind of been backfire on them, not only here in the early moments of Vertigo, but as we had said plenty of times as well back on Train. So we'll see what the approach is. I'm kind of surprised we're not just seeing this deep ramp smoke coming in. Or at least if we, I was going to say if we are, it would just be thrown kind of from that position right there. But no, just throwing the nades down. Looking to try and push in together. They have quite a few players moving in this direction right now. As you can see, there is unfortunately an up there to go ahead and hold it down. So despite having actually found the opening kill elsewhere, that ramp aggression again does end up costing them just a small bit, which allows for Tenerife Titans to tie it back up in the 4-on-4. Dennis is still aggressive though. He loves pushing forward, and I don't think he's going to be making any other sort of decision this time around either. Indeed, ended up unfortunately dropping. The trade at least coming back in, that was a good find. Unfortunately though, Sereni had creeped out mid earlier on and had actually decided to go in behind B, and now has his 2 other teammates moving back in this direction as well. So I was going to say they have the wrap on this player. Apekz is completely screwed. Sereni even just took the fight on his own and made it work. This is still winnable though for Grussarn. As I said, I realized he actually got dropped to 13 health in that first fight, so that's a little bit awkward.
I mean, you are right. It's not impossible, but it is going to be awkward and a little bit difficult. If Double Magic misses his shot, yep, there's the headshot. This is now very doable. I mean, it is an AWP he's going up against, although Double Magic seems to have a pistol in hand, I believe. It does look like it, as he is aware of the low HP of Grus. And in this case, pressing the bomb will reveal his position. Jumps, though, unfortunately. That was a bit too much of a reveal itself. He sees Double Magic, but has no kit, no time. That's it, 1 HP. No matter what he does here, the round is lost. And might actually get the drop on him. No, never mind. That is going to be 5-3, and Double Magic even survives. As Tenerife Titans are really starting to take control and really starting to pull it back. Holy shit. My bad.
Oh damn!
Shouldn't have said that.
Family show, bro.
It is it is going well here. I really didn't expect this. I mean, Tenerife Titans, they're handling themselves so well, and as we saw Shadani with that embedded push in towards B, he really locked down the whole site and effectively the CTs.
Yeah, that was just incredible, and I'm getting scared for Apekz just in general, because this is looking like Tenerife Titans. If they keep this up, they're going to be looking at a 2-0. And I didn't expect that at all coming into this series, if I'm being honest. I thought it was clear cut enough for Apekz. Yeah, I mean, I was shocked at what we've seen on Train. I'm a little bit surprised at what we're getting here early on as well, considering Apekz really didn't have that poor of a start. They were able to go up 3-1. It's now been 4 in a row for Tenerife Titans, and probably a bit more, depending on if these pistols can show up or not for Apekz. We know they have the aim to make the Deagles work, so you can never count that out. But yeah, for this round anyway, nothing crazy in terms of the aggression. We've seen previously, obviously, they had gone aggressive down the ramp when they only had those weaker weapons. This time, just sitting back and waiting instead for their opponents to come to them. And that's going to happen pretty soon, I believe. I don't think they're going to be holding too much longer. They don't want to get risk getting flanked out or anything. So indeed, just going forward onto A. Indeed, Raftu getting that opening could have been a bit dangerous, but up against the Deagle once you get up close, if the instant headshot isn't hit pretty much, then even if you end up getting the Deagle spam, as long as Tenerife Titans are sitting together, they should be trading them out. And indeed, not even giving away a frag as of yet. Bomb goes down, 5-on-3, and honestly, Apekz, with a couple players having Kevlar, they could definitely consider saving that. Grusarn's gone, unfortunately. Dennis could consider saving it as well. I think they have the full loss bonus anyway coming into the next round, but the Kevlar can be helpful still, especially if you want to maybe consider pulling out a double op setup. That's something they could think about at this point. We did see them enjoying it for sure back on train.
The max loss bonus, yes, is there, but you know, do you really want to risk double up for utility, etc.? You know, because
that's
again,
why I was thinking the Kevlar would have been useful if they had saved it.
Yeah, exactly. If they had kept it, then I would see double up being definitely doable. But you know, in this case, we already see a very limited amount of utility as it is for a few players. Well, actually, not as limited as one might imagine. It's actually pretty decent given the circumstances, but I would rather say maybe another kit. Exactly. Yeah. Just the one.
Even
kit
no helmet for Grusarn. Well, he still would have been 50 quid short, but he could have maybe lacked that one extra flash.
Exactly so, right? I think it would have been much more prudent in that case, but that's just us. We're nitpicking right now, so let's see if Apekz can make it work. One kit is at least something. You know, we always condemn teams when they don't have a single one. In this case, Apekz were made sure that they at least have that available to them. Apekz, close range, finds the first. The gap in the smoke gives him that drop on Raftu as he walks up the stairway. A second player spotted. Luckily, no headshot for Viltrex, though. He only gets a bit tagged, and it's going to be Apekz still remaining close range. This is ballsy. This is too ballsy. But Marcelius, free kills for days when Caliber just walks into his crosshair. Where's the flash? Where's the support? Where's the rest of the team? What was the reason for that? That's all the, you know, that's all of the questions that I get into my mind as soon as I see something like this, and I ask myself why. And the answer is, well, you never know.
Oh, wow. Damn! Yeah, that was fantastic control.
And that was the truth, man. I spilled some truth on the floor there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, great round though. That is better from Apekz. We need to see them keep this up though. Ideally, they want to be getting a few rounds at least in a row here on the CT side before they drop any more. So we'll see if that's something they can replicate. They didn't allow the economy of Tenerife Titans to get all that ridiculously out of control, to be honest. After this one, they would be looking at the eco onto a few of those players. So yeah, potential for Apekz to take some control back, get a firm hold on the game potentially. We've seen the drop again attempted by Mycelius. This time Raftu was playing a bit more passive. He does still decide to just charge in and ends up getting one, but at least being traded out, and then Dennis elsewhere managing to actually nade down one of those players. So I was going to say a good advantage had been found for Apekz. But yeah, Grusarn stuck around on his own on the ramp there for some weird reason.
Double magic. Okay. I guess
just feel that he had it.
I mean, so far I gotta give it to Double Magic. He's been having some amazing shots and some amazing performances. He really has been pulling off on a few strings, and Truth does not stand a single chance. Oof, Apekz, that was a risky endeavor, and he gets away with the kill. Unfortunately, that's really the only thing he does get. 7-4, dude. This is getting out of line. This is getting out of control. Tenerife Titans, they're playing a magical game of CS here, and Apekz have seemingly no answer, or at least no remedy. It's getting out of control. That is what I'm worried about right now. Second map here, and we're already 3 rounds up for Tenerife Titans with a timeout for Apekz to discuss what the bloody hell is going on and how can they even handle this.
I don't know. Honestly, it's been a little bit crazy. This is not what I expected of this matchup. I thought, as I said, that it was going to be Apekz who would come true and maybe even get that 2-0. I thought, okay, yeah, probably they can be close maps at least. But honestly, when it's come down to the full gun round so far in this game, it has been mostly just Tenerife Titans. Even when we look at Train, what was it? Tenerife Titans, I believe, did go up initially 3-0 on Train and then ended up losing 3 rounds in a row. But then after that, pretty much had full control. And it was only really Apekz able to find some stray rounds here and there. And it's looking like it could kind of be the same result here on Vertigo, at least so far. I don't want to count them out. Once Apekz swap over to the T side again, I think that's where they could have a little bit more success, especially with how aggressive they enjoy playing and just with the players that they have. but they definitely need quite a bit more here, up to at least 6 or 7 on the CT side for it to be a half they could be happy with. Oh, it's going to be dangerous. Yeah, Dennis actually gets spotted. I thought he may have had the drop on Kluber, but apparently not. And with Sereni getting a kill elsewhere, even though Kluber has fallen, they can afford now to slow things down a bit on the T side. Just ensure that they play this out together and trade from this point on.
So, and look at this, they're going to be hitting B, they're not going to be delaying any longer, and, you know, slow play would an option, but they decided to hit this as fiercely, as quickly as they can in Apekz. By the time they get close, the smoke's already going to be down, and we can see an MBK. Apekz is going to try and jiggle his way around, drops one at server, but that's not enough. Raftu and Shadani, again, prove to be the better two duelers in this case, and it's going to be Gruss 1v3, as Raftu is sticking to the edge of the ledge. This challenging moment, Gruss has to make a decision. Does he go for the attempted save, or does he get the hell out of Dodge?
He needs to.
I mean, he needs to, yeah. I kind of agree there. Unfortunately, he stands no chance.
Screwed.
Yeah. And, I mean, just for a second, I would like to, you know, move our perspective into the eyes of Apekz and into the camp of Apekz and look at the economy, look at the kills, look at how they're currently handling this. It is a disaster and a half, and they seemingly have no response to the pressure that Tenerife Titans are continuously able to display and, well, basically apply. One thing that I'm kind of worried about is, I mean, Tenerife Titans, they're not exactly, you know, they're not exactly pulling out some amazing strategies. They're not exactly doing some very elaborate fakes or trying to sell them short, but it's more or less just a default approach with a few aggressive notions here and there, allowing their players to perhaps get an entry. And yes, they fail at times. We see that they lose, you know, Caliber the previous, for example, but then Shadani delivers with an immediate refrag or the like, and that is where their strength strives from. They are able to continuously put that pressure point on Apekz and bleed them dry effectively.
Yeah, it's been incredible by them, as you said. Nothing too crazy in terms of the strats, but I guess that's also kind of to be expected. I'm curious, what language are they communicating in this? Sereni speak Bulgarian?
No, not that I
figured
would know
it'd
of.
be English, yeah.
Yeah, it's most likely English. Now, if you would allow me to wager and bet in this case, I'd say most likely amongst each other they speak Bulgarian, but they speak with Shadani in English, and the general communication being in English probably. Well,
yeah, that's what I mean. Like while they're talking in game, maybe when Sereni's dead, if they're like clutch and stuff, they swap that back to Bulgarian. But I would imagine mid round and such probably keeping it in English. But yeah, I mean, they seem to be doing a pretty good job so far. I haven't seen anything that stands out to me as a communication issue. More so, we've seen some of them moments from Apekz, if anything, which shouldn't be the case. I mean, obviously Dennis isn't Norwegian, but he should be okay as a Sweden. There, it shouldn't be too difficult.
Hey, that's a good point. As far as I know, Norwegian and Swedish is mutually intelligible. Basically, you can understand pretty much a lot.
I believe they're close enough. I think it depends on dialects and everything as well, where you're from in both countries. But in general, I think if you take it a little slower anyway, there shouldn't be too much issues.
Exactly. It's very, apparently in comparison, it's like Serbian and Croatian, or Bosnian, or maybe Slovenian and Croatian, right? Obviously, there's a different word for a few things, but mostly it is intelligible if you listen to it in a slower pace, perhaps. So yeah.
Oh, the combo right there, the nade. Dennis. Oh, damn, I was going to say that was double magic from double magic with the nade and the op shot, but that was some magic from Dennis with the deagle. Yeah, Kalubar is screwed. He's so low right now. Surely once the smoke starts to fade away, Dennis has a free kill. Oh, he didn't even need to. Marcelius ends up ending it. That works. That fights Apekz back into a round, and it gives them the possibility to maybe even come out with 7 here, which would be a pretty good CT side.
I mean, considering that was basically a Pistol Eco victory, absolutely would be a perfect ending here. 7-8 is where really Apekz would start to shine again.
Oh, look at Marcelius, big smile. He's loving it.
Yeah, he reminds me of...
He's just really happy to play CS.
I mean, who wouldn't be, right? He's enjoying his time.
Oh, Viltrex isn't. He looks a little angry.
Yeah. And Gruss is just stoic. It's like, I'm gonna beat all of you for free, and then I'm gonna enjoy that.
But he's gonna have to. Because they're down by a bit right now. So it's been a struggle. They're really aggressive on ramp. This is crazy.
Yeah, let's see if it works actually.
they're not actually going to follow up with the peak. Okay, I kind of like this. Staying around, they know obviously if anyone on Tenerife Titans tried to follow up, and I think now, since they haven't spotted anyone else up close, they probably will begin to start rotating soon enough. The issue is, they're all still over on the ramp, so that rotation, it is a pretty long one. And considering Tenerife Titans are already set up around these stairs, if they move quickly on the B, they could have a bit of an easier time, especially if they get this first kill quickly.
Apekz and MBK, this is a valuable position. Unfortunately, he swings a bit too wide. Marcellus with the op takes a few pot shots, or at least the one. No luck to connect. The second shot, though, comes through short as Viltrex will be able to find one. He pulls out the pistol. Marcellus, he cannot connect. The Deagle finally finding purchase in a 2v2, 30 seconds. This is vital, Apekz. They rely with everything for this round, upon everything. And Marcellus, if he's allowed one more shot, and he surely will, it is Dennis and Marcellus that salvage it. But what a back and forth, and too close for comfort, to say the least.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, Marcellus struggled a little bit there in behind the generator, which is surprising considering he's 18-8 right now, and back on train, he wasn't really missing anything. But yeah, maybe the Deagle, not quite his weapon sometimes. Either way, able to make it work, and as I had said, the possibility to dream of coming out with 7 rounds on the half for Apekz is still alive, and is actually at this point looking pretty likely. At that point, if they manage to put it up to 7, even if you end up losing the pistol on the second half, at least you're not in a position where you have lost full control of the game. So it's a much more secure half than what it looked like we were going to be seeing from Apekz. Again, though, wanting to aggress around ramp. Pretty solid nay at damage. I did not expect that much damage from it. You never know what the HE is in this game. I thought we were going to get like 4 damage from it, but now we got like 400. Not quite, it was like 200 and something, but that was crazy alongside the spam. And Dennis doesn't want to let up on the aggression either. Let up on the headshots, perhaps. He will eventually. He'll let Apekz come in and do a little bit of the work, and there we go. 7 for Apekz at the halftime.
What can I say? Apekz, they draw it back. The curtain is not completely gone. Another 8-7 half like on train. Now, I'm not going to say they need to end the pistol, but it would be a nice little bit of a saving grace to be able to pull it back and potentially salvage themselves, you know, a little bit of a less of a headache. But in any case, Apekz, those last 3 rounds is really what I think will propel them over the edge and actually give them a chance to win this map now, potentially pulling us into dust. In any case, 8-7, second half, Tenerife Titans playing as the CTs right now. The defense is going to be tested on B, though, and there's a single man holding. That is Raftu.
Yeah, he was very impressive on the previous map and has had his moments here as well. Unfortunately, so far, not hitting those 1-taps on the USP, but he's wasted time. And as you can see, there is just a wall of CTs in position right now to hold this down. And they're doing a pretty goddamn good job, I must say. At least they were initially. Marcelli is still being alive as someone you need to fear, as is Dennis on those pistols. And in combination, they are able to go ahead and sweep up those remaining couple players around the bomb site. They bring Apekz into a tied position now as they sit 8-8 with Tenerife Titans. And yeah, have done a real good job at recovering now, having taken 4 rounds in a row. We obviously were very worried when it was 8-4 for Tenerife Titans, but yeah, Apekz, they're doing a good job. They should be able to take themselves the lead here as well before Tenerife Titans get onto the bye, because they've decided to just go for the, I guess, safer approach of not force buying in the second round and then getting the buy into round number 3. But obviously it also gives you a lot less utility and such to work with, so there's positives and negatives to the approach. So we'll see how it goes for them.
I think it's very much going to depend on what they choose to do in the round as well, right? It's really going to be very important for them to choose the right tactic in this case, how they handle it with limited utility. They take A ramp perhaps, or they look to take middle afterwards, and we'll see if that's the case. Tenerife Titans definitely going to have to make a few good decisions, though, and in any case, Apekz, they don't waste time here. They're going to be pushing A ramp. They're going to be stacking. Well, they're going to be walking into a stack. And unfortunately for Tenerife Titans, there are no Deagles, there are no PT-50s. There's not really much they can rely upon when it comes to firepower. But they can be a nuisance. They can be a challenge. They can be a problem, and that's about it. Single frag, a little bit more damage dealt. That's it. Not much beyond that. 9-8 as expected. And as you said, with an eco in mind, not usually seeing an eco. These days, the CTs do like their forces, their CZs, their Eagles. So I gotta give it to the Titans that they keep themselves composed against overwhelming odds and say that they will try with what they can in a limited manner. So let's see what their goal is.
One kill
and how
wasn't
they
bad
actually
either.
go for it. Yeah, I mean, considering it's full eco, yeah, definitely. One frag is a nice little add on top of things.
It helps out if they can win this round here, because it stops one of the players from being able to keep money. Sometimes forces another player to drop the weapon over to them, so sometimes they can actually put two of them in a position where they have very little money left over. And although that's not quite the case, Marcelius is on 1750, so losing this round would put two players on Apekz on the eco, in the case of Dennis a double eco. So yeah, quite an important round here, as you would expect. Unfortunately for Tenerife Titans, they have already been damaged up pretty heavily, or at least Sereni has there as he was trying to face over towards the ramp, spammed down through the smoke. So that is probably not the start that they would have been hoping for. And this is a different approach from Apekz. We didn't really see this from Tenerife Titans. They weren't all that focused around mid. And I believe the one or two times that they did go here, it was just one player lurking. Yeah, and there we go. It worked. No one from Tenerife Titans was actually watching that at all. So Rennie, the man who had initially been tagged up around towards the ramp as well, unfortunately is the second player to defend that B bomb site. So once he had lost his teammate, left on around 20 health, I believe it wasn't ideal. The fact that he even got one kill there was a little bit unlikely. So yeah, forced into the save. Tenerife Titans, they're backing away. It's going to be 10 for Apekz already as they hit double digits with 6 in a row.
Damn, Apekz are really bringing it home, and well, finally we see the statistics playing in their favor. As we had predicted that the second map is going to be very hard for Tenerife Titans. It certainly is looking out to be a bit harsher than Train. We got to consider the fact that Tenerife Titans already won with the scoreline on Train. It was 16-8 in the final throes of it, so it definitely, definitely begs the question: how do they handle potentially losing a few more in between and having to make a comeback of their own? We have yet to see them in that scenario, right? Up to this point, they always had the lead, or at least were in a position where they were able to take the lead. And we can see, even in the first half, it was 5 in a row and then 2 more in between subsequently. But let's see if this is the case, if indeed they can bring it home. It's going to be full eco, of course. They don't really have a choice beyond that. I think the op is going to be super important for double magic. We've seen it on Train work its magic, and likewise we probably will see it here on Vertigo as well. Yet amazing impact, effectively. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I would say both of the oppers have been, both Double Magic and also Marcelius. Both of them have certainly been doing a fantastic job with that weapon when they've had it available. Double Magic didn't have it in this round, of course. He was just rocking an M4 over there and ended up, unfortunately, going down pretty quickly after only getting the 1, which is probably not ideal considering how aggressive that weapon is out in that position now, not really being recoverable anymore. Considering they're limited on weapons, it would have been better if it was in a spot that could be picked up quickly by a teammate. Sereni as well is going to fall. So yeah, this is looking like it should be a pretty straightforward round here for Apekz. 11-8 most likely afterwards, and at that point, the Tenerife Titans, they'll be looking at a pretty important gun round. I don't want to count them out completely though. I was going to say if we could see Kalubar maybe get one there over towards A, perhaps there could still be a chance with the 1 M4, but it shouldn't be possible anymore. You can see the goal even there was to try and retrieve that M4 back so that they could have both players maybe saving over the weapons, but obviously not being allowed. Viltrex at this point probably to just save the AK. I don't even think it'd be worth trying to do any damage because those 3 players and in general, Apekz, they do have a bit of money.
Yeah, economically looking at it, Apekz are a little bit too good in that position. But I'm trying to mull over the current scenario and the current position the Tenerife Titans are in. Now, Apekz is doing a pretty good job at just kind of handling the aggression and making sure they mitigate any sort of refrags as best they can. But for Tenerife Titans, I'm thinking what could work and how could they approach this by allowing themselves either an early little bit of, not necessarily immediately getting the entry, but more control than anything else. And there's one thing that we have yet to see them do. Take aggressive mid control itself. Try to take an aggressive stance towards middle, force Apekz back into their own domain in a way, and force them into weird positions where then they have to either fight aggressively towards A ramp or B ramp, and then truly find their way out of that stick. On the other hand, B aggression is yet to be seen. A ramp aggression is yet to be seen in its full potential, right? The deep smokes and the classic angles that we see them take usually on the CT side with that close range.
We barely seen it on the previous half even.
Exactly. It's been a little bit passive from the CTs overall, and I would like to see a bit of a switcheroo. I'll be honest. I mean, I'm a stickler for aggression, but still, in this case, Tenerife Titans, they've allowed so much control to go to Apekz in the 4 rounds they've played. I think they have to strike back at one point, at least scare them a bit into submission or to slow down a tiny perchance.
Yeah, I mean, that's one thing. That's one thing I always say about teams as well when they're on those earlier rounds. Sometimes you see them going aggressive against ecos and such, and it is really risky, but a lot of the times mentally it can pay off, because if you can put that in the minds of your opponents, you'll force them to be more cautious in everything they do. And yeah, I guess that kind of goes with what you're saying right now. Obviously, since Apekz got that strong start early on, they're feeling really confident. And for Tenerife Titans playing passive, it's not working out. They're just being overrun. Apekz are hitting their shots. They're making the correct decisions. And importantly, you're also sticking together well on those pushes, not being too separated, ensuring those trades can come in, which is something that we weren't seeing on Train.
Not at all. And the one thing that I loved on Train from, of course, in this case, Tenerife Titans, for example, just it is a very, perhaps not the best example, but definitely an example that kind of, shows what they were all about. The double setup on B catwalk, right? With a player being close to the ledge of the help me out here, of the, not stairway rather, but the ladder, thank you, reminded myself, and of course, and another player being deep in towards catwalk, watching the cross of upper. So really, those kind of little bit of additions to their style, I think they're lacking it here on Vertigo. They're not abusing that as much as they could. Even perhaps a boost. It's rarely that it's not going to be checked, but try it once, see how it goes. If you can get a free kill, that's that's another bonus to your point. And Tenerife Titans, they'll be taking A ramp control after the smoke is cleared. A little bit peculiar, but so it will be.
Oh, are they going for the repeat? This is going to be very risky. Fortunately, so far, shots are not being rattled off by the off, but if they keep on going for it, I was going to say they probably will eventually pay. And yeah, even getting the 1-for-1 trade there, I would say, is probably a pretty hefty price to pay, because now they're forced to fall back and play a bit more passive, and Apekz was still around the minute remaining in the 4-on-4, which is favorable, will be able to get that ramp control. But there we go. Double Magic catches the timing as he goes forward around scaffolding.
Oh, again,
towards mid as well. Yeah, no one is watching this position. There was a player nearby, obviously there being Raftu, but he had to shift his focus back and forth between mid and B, and unfortunately the timing didn't work out for him. It's still pretty close though.
It's like Tenerife Titans, this is not the first time we see them botch this control of middle, and not just middle, but basically get hunted from the back. Luckily for this time for Kaluber and Shadani, well, not Shadani, but Kaluber, that he knows where his opponent might be ticking away, and Kaluber will salvage it with the bomb being tucked on ramp. It gives him the chance to save it all. But holy hell, Titans, they are really liking to, just not
Viltrex needs to drop one. They're lucky he had like 7,000.
Indeed. And I'm a little bit perplexed. How the hell did they let this one slide away? That they are completely oblivious to a potential mid push. Because imagine if Apekz have the bomb down in towards lower, towards hell or heaven. Like, they can make that switch towards B so quickly. It's insane how close Tenerife Titans were to losing the map. Or round, excuse me.
Yeah, and maybe with that round, the map would have came with it, because at that point, they would have been getting a bit out of control. It would have been 12-8, maybe 13-8 after the eco. So, yeah, I would say that round very, very important. The fact that it ended up being so close because of that mid flank, it is a bit scary to see, because, yeah, they'd struggled to get that one round on the board. Now they need to replicate the performance, and they need to do so with a bit of a limited investment. Sereni, I don't think he has a weapon anywhere, so yeah, he will have to just go ahead and buy up the FAMAS for himself. Limited nades behind it, limited nades in general. At least 3 of the players have the full set, but yeah, not a perfect buy. And considering they've already been struggling, every kind of small imperfection makes it that bit harder for them to win out the round. So we'll see if they can do it. They need to, otherwise Apekz will really begin to run away with that lead. Oh, and look at the confidence, just straight up ramp. They take up the pace, knowing that perhaps they can catch them off guard, and that's exactly what you see initially, at least. Thankfully, Double Magic is able to react and pull one back, and I think at this point, Apekz probably doesn't want to take too much of a risk while being on low health. Although I think he might go for it. The Molotov, the timing, he's going to try and pounce on it. Indeed, the shot being missed by the Opper, but he does end up taking a small bit of damage for that shot being missed. Thankfully survives. Oh, no, never mind.
The jinx is real. The nade will bring him down. A player on short, that's Viltrix. A second player joining him, and that will be Shadani. And he can be maybe the game changer. Finds the first. That's a good start. There's a second player on A ramp that through. Oh, Shadani. He's going to be aware of him at least. Now he turns around, gets the drop. The bomb had been planted. Raftu sticking to a slow approach, coming out to clear ramp. But Dennis will find both in the end. Unfortunate enough that Tenerife Titans get a little bit swindled there. And 12-9 as Apekz take the lead once more after a single round for Tenerife Titans. We're back to where we started. Again, they'll have to struggle and claw their way out of this hole they dug themselves into.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's probably going to get a bit deeper before they can actually start clawing themselves out of that hole, because they are, of course, looking at only pistols in this round. So, yeah, they'll have to hang on for a little bit longer before they can start fighting back in, but 13-9 likely to be the score here before they get the guns again. At that point, that next gun round is necessary, and it's necessary really for them to start taking a few rounds in a row at least before they could afford to drop even one. So we'll see how it goes. Not bad. Double Magic able to pick up one there on the Deagle. Unfortunately, though, B is completely open, so it is just going to be the bomb getting planted, and with that, the round already confirmed pretty much. The only goal, I guess, would be a couple of exit frags from that point on for Tenerife Titans.
Well, I gotta say, Apekz is definitely coming alive on this map. It's much better than what we saw on Train. They don't feel as lost, they don't feel as disheveled, and above all else, they don't feel like they have no idea what they're doing, because that's at one point how it looked on Train. 1 by 1, you know, being absolutely manhandled by Double Magic and co. And Tenerife Titans, if they save the op as they will, it will really give them a fighting chance on the next. And sure enough, they're going to be a little bit behind, as they already are. And okay, would you look at this, baby. That's an amazing amount of pick 'em up here for Tenerife Titans. And damage dealt to the side of Apekz also kind of perhaps sets the stage for this potential comeback. This is definitely now on the board of maybes.
Yeah, I mean, it's still possible either way here, to be honest. With the economy not being too great of Apekz, if Tenerife Titans can get one round, they could force them down onto that eco, but they need to. They need to get this round here and do that, otherwise it's going to be Apekz likely getting map point, and then I would start believing that Dust 2 is extremely likely as the decider, which we all know Dust 2 can be a little bit wild. It can be sometimes up in the air between two teams, especially when it's in there as the decider map. If you're coming off the back of a victory already for both of the teams, it really just comes down to who's going to be hitting their shots. You wouldn't really see anything crazy tactically with... I guess we haven't seen anything crazy tactically throughout this entire game so far anyway. It has been more of that individual approach.
It really has, hasn't it? It's been more about the, you know, classic take on aggression. Just look to entry, look to find, and look to return. Double Magic, well, the entry secured. And again, it hasn't been something outworldly here that really has took us completely and enthralled us. But this A-ramp push by Apekz might find some purchase, especially the way Tenerife Titans have a bit of a, you could say, twitchy side by continuously switching their positions, continuously going up and down. And this aggression, Caliber, again, I'm not particularly sold on this. What is going on? See, what is this positioning by Tenerife Titans? The aggression, sure, by Caliber, I can kind of get this, that Pop Flash supports that, but once more, they put themselves in a great position to begin with, only to draw it all back by their own hand. I mean, the way they challenge this is just unbelievably, I want to say,
yeah, that just wasn't needed.
It's just like, why? Why in the world would you ever do that? You've lost a ramp. You have no intention of getting it back. And yeah, sure, okay, you know, I can get why Caliber pushes in, right? With a Pop Flash to support, he wants to get a bit of info. Okay, I can get that. I can get behind that, especially with a man lead. Even though it's not necessary, okay. But then two more players, or one more player is then widely exposed, not checking any other corners and looking down the same barrel, looking down the same line as his teammate just died. It's like, what else do you expect but to get headshotted? It's just, I don't understand it, really, I don't. And maybe somebody else does, but this is just why? Just my questions in my head don't stop. It's like, why? 14-9, Tenerife Titans, last chance, this is it. Or we're seeing Dust 2, which is definitely becoming a reality very soon.
Yeah, they're going for the Force as well. I mean, well, not really a Force. They have a pretty decent buy overall, but it's just slipping away from them. As you said, Dust 2 is beginning to look extremely likely at this point, and unless Tenerife Titans can be flawless from this point on, then it should be Apekz, of course, taking it over the finish line here. Overtime could still be possible. That'd be one more round for Apekz at least to confirm that position for themselves, but either way, a long road ahead for Tenerife Titans, and what we've seen so far on the CT side, I don't know how much I can believe it. But we'll see. Apekz creeping up towards B this time. Okay, this is a switch up, and look at that A stack that's currently in place. This is going to be just all on Raftu. Yeah, I don't mind the idea of the A stack, but just this timing for Apekz to switch things up and bring it towards B is absolutely perfect. And Raftu even then ends up getting caught out of position. We had seen him getting caught around that area before by the mid player. This time it's as they go in towards B, and unfortunately he has the correct time and looking towards mid.
It feels like Titans are relying more on prediction and just their own thought process of what might come their way rather than actual knowledge of information in this case, right? Because the fact that they go for the stack of A would usually either tell you two things. They are gambling on that, or they have information for that. Now, they had no information. They had no idea what's coming their way. So they gambled. And yeah, you can gamble, but you don't want to gamble when it's 14-9. You want to play to your strengths. You want to play to your best. And Apekz did the same on Train, and they lost it because they gambled. There were quite a few moments on Train we can, you know, draw back to and look at how they chose to play a certain few rounds, how they chose to stack a few certain rounds, and because of that failed to get a few rounds. And really, it's Tenerife Titans. I'm a bit surprised they choose to do that. Really, it's been a problem towards mid, it's been a problem towards B whenever they would have no information about it, and they seem to choose to ignore it instead of perhaps switching up, as I said previously already a little while ago. Go aggressive, take B ramp control. First find info, then realize, okay, nobody's there, rotate over towards the other side. You can hold A ramp with two players to begin with. They don't need to be overly aggressive, and you'll at least buy a few more seconds of time for that rotation to come through.
Yeah, I think it was kind of that previous round that put them off the aggression. But there's a difference between going for when you have a man advantage and you know you've already lost the control, and going for it early on with nades and such being down. There's definitely a difference. But yeah, I mean, they're going for it now. The issue is they're already down 15-9. They need 6 in a row here to be able to now send it into an overtime, and then even then, of course, they have to win out the overtime itself. So yeah, not going to be easy. We'll see if they can do anything here, but it is looking like at this point we're going to be seeing Dust 2 pretty soon. Nice molly. That may force that player out. Okay, he ends up taking just pretty much all the damage from it. Somehow has got up behind them. How the hell did they not hear that?
Where are their headphones? Where are their ears? He was literally running up ramp. He was literally running up ramp with 2 HP, naded, mollied. The dude was heard all the way to New York. And that's it. Tenerife Titans, you know, we talked about how communication is something they haven't really been struggling with. Well, maybe there was no communication to begin with, you know? That meme with the 2 spacemen. It's like, there never was any. It's like,
What we do here is go back.
say, in favor of Tenerife Titans. The second one going just about as one-sided in favor of Apekz. So I'm hoping that we can get a bit of a closer one here on Dust 2 Overseas. And I'm sure you're hoping for the same. We always want some close and enjoyable CS.
Oh,
Knife round, it means the least here out of all the 3 maps for sure.
Yeah, it's the least important one that doesn't really signify any sort of a huge advantage for one or the other side. And I gotta say that, you know, Apekz did start on the CT side, both maps, Train and Vertigo, and we can see how much of a difference it actually made for Vertigo, if you ask me. In general, it was quite the challenge to bring it back to 8-7 on the half. It looked very worrisome at one point. You know, Tenerife Titans, they were able to compete, and not just compete, but actually take charge. And unfortunately here, though, or in the end, it turned out to be not enough. And I believe the final score was 69. Yes, yeah, it was 69, right? It certainly didn't well here. The Tenerife Titans then started to fall apart a bit. But as you said, it is Dust 2, the map where basically sides don't matter as much. It's more about how they can perform and how much they can actually output. And let's see how it goes. Apekz, they'll be kicking it off on the CT side once more. And before we kick into it, it is going to be the Esports Millions giveaway that you guys have a chance to participate in. If you want to have a chance of winning them, go check it out at esportsmillions.gg and predict the answer to 10 questions about the Relog 9-5 Cup. If you get all 10 correct, you win the grand prize. And there's quite a few extra bonuses alongside that, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Pistol, Dean. Pistol is where it's at. I'll ask you straight up, who do you think will win the pistol?
Who do I think will win the pistol round, though? That's interesting. The pistol rounds, I don't think are something you can usually predict too well, but I'll go at Apekz just because Dennis is over on B right now, and it looks like we might see him get a bit of a challenge. They have the stack around B as well. It looks like it's probably going to be the split. So I think Apekz are set up fairly well for if it is that B hit in the end. But the only issue is the bomb's still around top mid, so there's quite a bit of time really for Tenerife Titans to do whatever with this.
Yeah, that's a very diplomatic answer, and I like it. Yeah, it's true. It's an open-ended question right now. But maybe it would be better put if I'd say, who do you think will suffer more if they lose the pistol?
I would say Tenerife Titans coming off the back of that previous map, if I'm honest. If they do end up losing this pistol, I think it could be tough for them to get that confidence going again. And yeah, so far not really having too much success on this pistol round, being swept up by Dennis, as he has a pretty fun time tapping away with that USP. It's actually eventually Truth now who steps up as well. Dennis did go down, but 3-on-1, there shouldn't be too much for Viltrex to do here. Unless they give a chance for him to take a 1-on-1 here early on, because Gruz is low. So if he had been given any more peeks, for example, by Truth, if he had got that kill, then it would have been maybe a bit scary. But they don't let that happen. They wait for him to push forward. Marcelius then takes the first contact from the door. And of course, at that moment, Truth would have been popping up from the back of the platform anyway to help out. So yeah, 1-0. Apekz are able to get that pistol round. As I said, if it went towards B, they had a good setup for it. And that's what we see.
So far, so good. And yeah, Apekz, you already said with Dennis in tow, he's usually the change maker, if one can put it like that. And we can see here Apekz is going to push through lower. Actually gets the drop on shot, and he unfortunately Truth had been caught on middle, being a little bit over aggressive and perhaps a bit overextended. Dennis realizes his position is perhaps too exposed and pushes back towards site. Needs to play it safe. He's one of the only ones with the M4. Marcelius likewise has an AUG, but he will be putting himself in towards car and long. Russ comes on the flank, and he's going to be doing a splendid job at denying this push through short, with Double Magic actually having B control. Unfortunately for Tenerife Titans, they've lost the bomb, and they've lost the round already. They just don't know it yet, or at least something of the like. Here it's where basically the op will be so much more important than any other map up until this point. Double Magic, if he's able to perform, and likewise Marcelius, we're going to be in for some amazing moments. And well, hold on. Okay, never mind. I was like, you know, maybe Double Magic 1v2, he's got 40 seconds or so. But Apekz, good start. Once again, proving to be a little bit tougher, a little bit more resilient to begin with.
Yeah, this should be another pretty easy round for Apekz, I would imagine. Or should be an easy round anyway for them to try and build up some money. No real investments other than a few pistols here. The main kind of charge there was leaded by the Glocks as well up short, and although they did lose one, Viltrex ends up actually snatching one away with the Deagle, so that's not too bad. They've gotten one kill so far. I was going to say even one more frag from that point on would have been something they could look at as a success, but no, it's not allowed. Marcelius even then grinding up a bit of money there as he just kind of mows down heads as they come up through short, gives the AUG back over to his teammate, is able to go straight onto the AWP, which, as you mentioned, is going to be so impactful here on this map, especially when Double Magic is able to pull it out here in this first gun round as well.
Indeed. Let's see if right now it will make a big difference. With 2 players in upper, and seemingly a bit of a default split by Tenerife Titans. They're looking for a very calm approach to the round itself, not looking for too early entries. And we did point out on Vertigo and even on Train, we could see Tenerife Titans continuously look for entries themselves and, you know, be a little bit aggressive, approach the T side in a standard manner, but with an added pinch of aggression on top of it. And here we can see again a very calm approach. They leave Double Magic to handle this on his own towards Xbox. It's peculiar to see the op being this close to the fight, this close to the action. Usually that's tucked away somewhere on top mid or somewhere and just spotting the corner cross. But it feels like an ace split. Given that they've set themselves up on short and long, I would dare say that the last player here, Shadani, will join the short player, and then they'll collapse on top of the A site and try and break it down. And let's see if that's going to be successful. 2 to first handled on long itself.
Oh, there we go. Trying to come out. I like this. Truth's just going to be hiding in towards the pit. Marcelius, having already taken one shot now, can wait. As soon as Truth gets contact, he can come back in to help once again. So they're just holding this down flawlessly. Double Magic is alone. Oh, nearly could have had a chance for the collateral. Somehow is managing to take them down. Despite having at one point there being in pretty much a crossfire between 3 people, he was able to, in the end, actually pull 2 kills out of it. The issue is 2 kills isn't really enough at that point when they're already down now 4-0, and when unfortunately they still lived with 3 on the side of Apekz, so that they can drop those 2 weapons over without really impacting too much, especially since they have the chance to make up for it by having a potentially clean round here. Of course, though, pistols and Kevlar definitely to be feared. We've seen a lot less pull off a lot more than a round win before, so we'll see what's going to happen here. Nothing too crazy. It looked like maybe they were considering the B rush, but even then only had 3 players, so I don't think that was really going to be the goal. Instead, just working down through lower tunnels and I believe up towards short with that Xbox smoke.
Well, shot and he will be tagged. So Tenerife Titans will have to make do with what they can, and that's, as you said, a short push, hoping for a quick succession and getting a bomb plant. At least good counter Molotov Grunt will really put a hurt on them, although Marcelius oblivious to the fact they're jumping into CT. Viltrex with the quick headshot as Grust and Dennis do handle it somewhat. It's still going to be Caliber and Shadani. Hold on. 3v2 with the Deagle in middle. Double Magic. He makes it magical indeed. And down to Apekz it falls. This clutch round for him, quite vital, given that this is an eco round. This is not a commitment. This is not something that Tenerife Titans desperately need to win. Oh, he's going to stick to it. Yeah, he will. No, wait. Okay, yeah. Whew. Okay.
That was a bit too close. Under a second, I believe, remaining.
Very close indeed.
Yeah, look at the timing here. I believe it was Raftu. Yeah, he nearly had the time in there to catch Dennis moving up through the smoke. Unfortunately, he just turned around. If he had got that kill, it probably wouldn't have came to this position down in the end. It probably would have just been the pistol round already stolen away pretty much, even if that kill hadn't have come in around mid. So yeah, Tenerife Titans, I mean, good work to be able to go ahead and actually steal one away. And with that, break down the economy of Apekz, of course, now being left with just a few pistols being upgraded. They've got the Deagles and such, at least thankfully it wasn't a double eco on anyone, so they're able to just take the one, although Marcelius I think will only have 3,900 in the next round anyway, so that's really not ideal for the Opper. But I believe Gruce will be able to drop one in return for an M4, so we'll see exactly what way they make that work. But obviously, they're trying to focus for now on this round, see if at least they can take a few weapons out of hands of Tenerife Titans, maybe even steal away an AK for themselves in that next round.
Well, Brutus is gonna hold in with the Deagle. Apekz finds two. No way. Apekz with a P250. Enough damage has been dealt that Apekz might actually win this, and well, they will win this. Or at least looks like they will. My god, what is going on? Tenerife Titans. They choose for that B hit with two players holding the line. It's more than enough, and more specifically, Apekz with a double P250 double. That is just extremely extremely problematic for Tenerife Titans. Like, how do you come back from that? It's a tough cookie here to crack, to say the least.
Yeah, that was just revenge for Apekz for that previous round, really. And yeah, as you said, it's definitely more heartbreaking for Tenerife Titans considering the scoreline. Apekz could brush it off a little bit easier. Like, it's all right. We were up 4-0. At best, they get like 2 rounds here, and then we can just bounce back. But no, they end up winning out this weaker by anyway. So I'm sure Apekz are feeling pretty fantastic right now, despite even having lost that previous round to the Pistols. Viltrex is able to save over the AK, and with that, we will see the buy coming in for sure. Double Magic can potentially drop over to Raftu, depending on if he wants to get the op for himself or not. So we'll see what way exactly they make that work. He can still get the op for himself, so it's all good. Just won't really have too many nades or anything behind it. Goes for the body armor so that he can get one smoke at least. But yeah, no, I mean, this has to be Tenerife Titans instantly returning the round, otherwise Apekz probably go up 7-1, and at that point they're feeling real good about being able to just maybe run away with this third and final map of the series.
I mean, this is how usually runaway getaways begin, and let's see if Tenerife Titans, as you said, pick it up, because it is going to be quite a desperate move. Otherwise, if they don't, and I mean, they have equipment to handle this, but can they actually do so? That's something we're about to find out. Good pop flash. Gruss doesn't die. He does get tagged heavily. Tries to counter it with one of his own. Another pop flash comes flying in. Gruss is taking another engagement. I'm kind of surprised he's still sticking to the edge there, as finally Marcelius takes the challenge, and he will find the first shot, and he's going to be caught. He's having a bit of a slow start. Likewise, the op of Double Magic trying to connect, being a bit cheeky, but can't get away with it. Tenerife Titans, the kicker here is weak. Let's see if the mid game is going to be stronger. Viltrex pushes up short, is good for one, but again, Gruss is ready, low HP, and he still delivers, picks up the op, and the full push through long now committed to.
Oh, the trade's coming back. Double Magic giving them an opening that they very much needed onto the bomb site, and oh no. Kalubar being able to find Apekz there as he drops down, and gives them the bomb plant and gives them quite a bit of time to go ahead and actually position for that after plant as well. You can see Apekz sending one player around in through long. It takes an extra few seconds, but it will give them that extra angle of attack, and it's apparently not expected at all by Tenerife Titans. Yeah, Dennis pops out, 2 quick headshots, tapping away on that second one. As long range pretty much as you could be, and you couldn't have seen any more precision right there from Dennis. Hopping off the bomb for a second just to see what they can scavenge, and I believe they did just pick up that secondary op as well for themselves right now. So 6-1, bomb plant at least went down, but still, we will see Tenerife Titans, I believe, struggling just a small bit. I can't make out the money at the moment while they're running around. Yeah, their money's actually pretty decent. They can manage a buy at least, but still, it's 6-1. Apekz, they're just continuing on with how it was pretty much going on Virgo, and I'm sure that's worrying for Tenerife Titans.
Well, I mean, it definitely is in the back of their minds right now, starting to gnaw at their consciousnesses as to, can we stop this? Will we be able to stop this? Is it getting out of control? How many rounds will they get? Oof, Double Magic also tagged. The Molotov burning him away. Crispy chicken chunks there, and hopefully he's still got some meat on those bones. Otherwise, he might as well collapse like a skeleton. And we're about to find out. Raftu peeks out middle, tries to get a bit of an angle. They're very precautious. You can see that they're trying to play this one safe, making sure that those close fights are not going to be taken lightly, and that any sort of advantage that perhaps Apekz is looking for in these cheeky situations, that they will be able to mitigate that. Marcelius blinded by the Molotov. The angle of Gruss, though, damage is severe. The Molo will be this, but it's okay. They've got another one ready, and they're able to put an end to the push forward. But the damage trade here is where it's really at. Titans with 3 players below 100 together.
Yeah, I mean, they're kind of lucky that none of those players went down, but as you said, with that much damage done, they're going to be quite limited on who can actually give them openings unless the kills come towards them, which potentially they could have right there, but Marselius doesn't care. Bit overkill as well with getting the headshot right there, only like an extra 400 damage more than needed. But yeah, this is going pretty much as you would expect with that initial damage having come in. Dennis on long finds one. Marselius continues to go as they push up through short. Unfortunately, pretty much one by one. Again, he's going to be given the time to go ahead and compose himself for another shot. Will eventually miss, but considering it was only Sereni left at that point anyway, it didn't really matter too much. He will be finished off. It is Apekz keeping all 5 alive. The force buy, or rather the full buy, doesn't work out for Tenerife Titans, and now they've just got to go ahead and take an eco. Pistols and Kevlar probably again. And I mean, that's the one round that they were successful with so far. A reminder, the round they did win was with Pistols and Kevlar and a few nades behind it when they went for that short play. And they did have the smokes and such that they were able to put down, which we seen there even in that previous round, but just not being as successful this time around.
Yeah, not finding as much purchase as they would have hoped. Well, Deagles surely coming out, I would argue. Maybe even a few Kevlars, maybe a little bit of utility. Something I would expect. It is max loss bonus after all for the Titans, so they can afford a bit of a mini investment to try and do some damage and try and get a little bit of an upper hand. Albeit, I still cannot forgo and forget that B push that they attempted with Apekz finding the double with a P250 and later on losing it total with 4 players out of Apekz surviving. It's a scary, scary consideration that we have to put into the mind of the Titans here, and it's something that must be playing mind games with them. Double magic. He's going to stick to the Glock, interestingly enough. He could have gone... Well, actually, yeah, he could have afforded for P250. Right? Yeah, they have. He could have gone for P250. He still would have had more than enough for Kevlar and AWP, but utility perhaps, would be a little bit lackluster. So I understand his choice to not go for a full investment yet.
Yeah, it makes sense. Doesn't want to put too much money into this round when the rest of his teammates aren't either, so their overall chance of, I guess, getting a return on that investment is pretty low. Up down towards the door, well timed. Unfortunately, they could still be overwhelmed, but that's only if they make an attempt to overwhelm them off the side of Tenerife Titans. So far, not really trying to commit in towards B. Instead, taking these fights on their own as they feel like, I suppose. Jumping into the CT smoke right there. Right into the weight and arms of Dennis, who himself will eventually fall. But again, not without the trade coming in. They're just actually back and forth right now. Oh, the up shot being missed by Truth. If there was any weapon but a CZ right there, Raftu probably would have had that kill.
Close call. He would have, but... unfortunately, doesn't go the way it was intended to. Double up, Marselius and Truth. I mean, this is very much one-sided. The most one-sided we've had it all day long here. Even on Vertigo, where Titans were leading by, what, 7-4, I believe it was, at one point, maybe even 8-4. Apekz is really putting the hurt on.
Yeah, it was 8-4 at one point, and then they got one more round, I think. And then they've got one round here so far.
It was 8-7 on the half, and then, yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I mean, they had the 8-4 lead, and then they only got one more round, because I think it ended 16-9, right?
Oh, yeah, sorry, I misunderstood. I thought you meant for the first, that they got one more in the half. Yeah, it was 69, and they got basically one round on their second half, which was a little bit devastating. And you said it well, basically, that it will hurt Titans more than anything if they lose the pistol to begin with, because of how Vertigo went down, because of how, how the tables really turned around. And again, we can see here Apekz starting off beautifully. Marselius and Gruss finding 2 entries. It's as good as it gets here, with double magic out of commission, with Sharani as well, leaving the 3 Musketeers to try and handle this on their own. Doubt is brewing in the minds of the Tenerife Titans. That much is clear. Apekz, though, will lose Dennis in middle. That's a good start. 3v3 all of a sudden becomes a possibility to maybe make it into an actual victory.
Yeah, it was a bit of an awkward spray. That's what's given them the chance to come back into this. Raftu has the up, but he is low health, so we'll see if his teammates can find the openings, because that's what he needs. And no, not happening. Apekz has an easy time, especially as the final player was on 2 HP. Even gets the up back to go ahead and give over to Dennis. Yeah, we'll get a replay of this. Pretty clean. Nice little bursts. Good control of the M4, but again, a bit too separated on the pushes.
Yeah, one by one. It's something we've been seeing Titan do since the half of Vertigo. And it's something that I feel can be accustomed, or can be pinpointed to the fact that they're a bit frustrated, right? They're starting to lose focus, they're starting to lose control, and they know that this is not looking like a very positive outlook on the half anymore. There will be a rebuy. There's a Galil on double magic, a few AKs, very little utility. In Tenerife Titans, they're now in crisis mode. They have to get as many rounds as they can, as soon as they can. This, after all, is Dust, and we mentioned it at the start. It is as equal as it can be, almost, in between the two. So let's find out how it actually goes. Dennis, great start yet again through car, finds the first.
Oh. That was a little bit awkward for Dennis. He had been mollied and then unfortunately spammed as he tried to move into a safer position. They still have 3 players around A right now, though, so it's not like they're weak on defense. They're getting a little bit weaker as Truth goes down. He got caught in the open. Oh, and Marselius, yeah, I was about to say, re-attempting that jump up after falling down was so risky. Once his position was known that it was being held, and now it's come down to the 2 versus 2. Galuber, I was about to say, should have the drop on Apekz, but he actually gets it on Gruz instead coming out of spawn. As that smoke faded away. So there we go. Tenerife Titans, they finally are able to add another round onto their score tally and are able to do it for the first time with a full gun round. Again, previous time that they had won a round, it was on one of those weaker investments when they just executed up through short. So they've finally done it with the rifles themselves, but they need to replicate it because ideally they want to be getting 6 rounds here on the half to feel even somewhat happy with how this has gone down. At minimum 5.
See if they can do so. Wilfrex, oh, he's going to be blinded enough to not be able to finish Gruss. His initial spray was good, but unfortunately the final few bullets just not finding purchase, and a good nade by Marselius. Even a shot through the smoke as double magic is eliminated. No Raf to close range. Oh, there's another one. Beautiful stuff. Apekz, trigger control. This is where it's at. Can he handle himself in this scenario? Can he push the tempo in the envelope? Well, the answer is yes, he can. Finds one, knows that there's another close range. The up one, Kaluber might have a difference to be made, but no such luck. Shadani, 1v3, make it, unfortunately, none. 10-2, and Titans, they get around again, but once more they're beaten. They're beaten back into submission. And with the money that they currently have, they have to go for pistols and Kevlar. This is devastating. T-side cannot even afford to go for AKs anymore. That is how desperate it has become for Titans.
Yeah, no, it's not ideal. At this point, they just needed to be getting bomb plants at least every single round, and unfortunately, not happening. Pistols again in hand, and 1 Mach 10 there for Raftu. Shown that initial mid-aggression, but then immediately fallen back. Unfortunately for them, Dennis had a peek pretty much straight away, so he has gotten that info already for Apekz to work with. They know it's towards one of the bomb sites. They know it's towards B now for sure, and yeah, Marselius with a fantastic hold. Unfortunately, wasn't able to quite get the ace. One of those kills is being taken by, I believe it was Apekz, but I doubt he cares. They're getting the wins. That's all that matters. It's 11-2. We're going to have to replay here. He even done quite a bit of damage, I believe, onto that 4th player as well. Yeah, on towards Sereni, actually hit him with a few bullets to the body and then finished that final one. So, yeah, Marselius, that wasn't an easy hold, even against an eco, so you've got to give him some props for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with an M4, be it an AK or M4, you have to be very accurate and conservative with your bullets in order to actually successfully get those 4 kills. Russ, oh, good start. Again, I mean, we can see Apekz. They go for the long control, very standard. They get the entry and they pull back. Now, unless they have a player committed close into pit or something of the like, where we saw previously Grusby or Apekz, they don't look for further frags, and that's what I love about them. They relocated towards short. They have the anti-flash by Apekz. Let's see how this one is handled by them, as the op of truth might make a bit of a difference in this instance. Long control going to be lost, though. Truth is a bit oblivious to that, and Dennis does find Viltrex. It's still this. Oh, shot and he burns Apekz to the ground. That is just awkward as hell. But still a 3v2. Russ, nade in hand, gets headshotted. Back to 2v2, and Titans might have a chance of their third here.
Yeah, it was a little bit unfortunate for Sereni. The molly in front of him and the long players coming up from behind. But yeah, the 2-on-2 certainly still winnable for Apekz, despite having gotten a little bit shakier than I'm sure they would have hoped for. That Molotov, unfortunately, not able to force the player on the bomb site out of position. So for now, the op still holding firm, and as you can see, even Marcelius being slowed down back on short has now lost his teammate. Yeah, he's done, and he's going to go ahead and just back away at this point, try and save over into this final round so that they can ensure they can try and at least fight for the 12th for themselves. Honestly, if Tenerife Titans manage to pull it back up to 4 rounds and then get the pistol on the second half, that wouldn't be the worst. They could definitely still make it happen. But it's not going to be an easy task by any means. And obviously, as I said, the chance is still here for Apekz to maybe even come out with 12 at the halftime.
Well, let's see. That is, as you say, 12 potentially still on the half for Apekz. Be pretty amazing if they're able to pull it off. I mean, even 11-4 in this instance is amazing for Apekz to be able to do on Dust. I did not believe this map to be this linear and this one-sided, or at least potentially this one-sided. I had imagined Tenerife Titans to be a bit more prepared for it, but they are losing straight-up engagements for the most part, and well, it is showing. And look at this, Apekz taking their aggressiveness to the next level, trying to push through short, being a bit oblivious towards lower, though Raft, who gets the free kill. Dennis is out and about, through has been spotted as well, the jump spot. Enough, although double magic has been lost in the process. Kaluber has already crossed A site. And again, Apekz seem to be oblivious to their flanks. It's not the first time, and this seems to be a recurring thing in a recurring theme even in this game. It's either the Titans forgetting to notice sounds, or Apekz forgetting to check corners and be careful and vigilant of their lines. And in this case, 4v2, make it 3v2. After plant on A.
Yeah, looking good for the potential 4. Although it could still go wrong. Apekz and Gruz, of course, are gonna be going for this. Obviously, would have been the final round and a half, but already time's kind of ticking away. And actually, there was a Molotov. Okay, yeah, there's another Molotov as well that can be put down once this one begun to fade away, but it's not even going to be needed. Viltrex just hits both of those final headshots, and yeah, Tenerife Titans, they managed to find the 4 rounds that I said they could still salvage, but it does require them getting this pistol round. And ideally being able to find the opening gun round as well. And at that point, that's when it starts saying, okay, yeah, we could have a game back in our hands now.
Yeah, maybe a chance of a proper game that we both expected, that we both hoped to see. You already said it well, you know, we both enjoy a good game of CS, and definitely this has been a one-sided game of CS from the side of Apekz, as the Titans are yet to show their teeth and, well, claw their way into this series. And in any case, Kaluber, very swift as he finds the first, tags onto Dennis as well. 99 damage. Unfortunately, it's not the 9-on-90 Liga, but it's Apekz to reply. Still a 3-on-3. There is a chance this could go wrong for Titans or for Apekz still. Although, I say it, Dennis does get the reply, but it's a 1-on-2, 1 HP. And this man, unfortunately, as good as he might be, even for him, it's a bit much to ask of. 11-5 as the second pistol goes to the Titans, and that'll mark their 4 pistols out of the 6 total of this best of 3.
Yeah, they've been doing a pretty good job with them. I want to see now, obviously, if they can overcome any sort of investments. And we're not going to be seeing much of an investment, though, actually, at all from Apekz, surprisingly. I guess having the lead, they're willing to not give this one away, considering they still have a few upgraded pistols, but pretty much, they just want to try and get that gun round as early as possible. Pushing out towards long. Unfortunately, not going too well for them. They didn't even have the greatest spawns. I know the first player got out pretty early, but the second one was coming out pretty late, and at that point, they already had 3 players, I believe it was, around long. So there wasn't really much that they were going to be able to achieve with that play, I wouldn't imagine. And that was one of the upgraded pistols as well lost. So at this point, with just a Deagle on Dennis and a couple like Glocks, it should be Tenerife Titans. Likely even taking themselves a perfectly clean round. Ideally, they don't want to lose anyone.
Let's see. if perhaps, you know, this Deagle can still pay a few hellos. Never mind. You know, one would hope, but Raptor has said enough, and too many headshots we had already seen. It's time to enjoy a bit of peace and quiet here for the Titans themselves. But the first gun round is where it's really at. It's the first real test of metal and the first real test for Titans in general to see if they're able to hold off this oncoming tide. Apekz, I think we can safely say they're going to be spreading their wings out a little bit, looking for more of a default approach perhaps through lower in towards mid Xbox into short, and looking to expand their map control beyond that. But look at Tenerife Titans. They put 4 players on long. They're so worried about that long push. They really try to predict this, and unfortunately, there's nothing of the like coming their way.
Oh, a wall bang. Not quite managing to connect the damage.
Yeah.
It looked like it was going to. Ended up doing 1 to Truth and 1 to Dennis, so nothing substantial. Raftu, though, very aggressive on short. The flash was, I believe, thrown around for him. Decides not to follow it up, and yeah, that was probably for the best. It actually ends up working out that he doesn't. Instead, had the help of Sereni, and with that, they end up achieving a 5-on-3 very early on into this round. This is looking much better from Tenerife Titans. This is what we were really waiting to see. We were waiting to see how they were going to do once the guns came out. And so far, pretty good. 50 seconds remaining for Apekz to try and recover this 3-on-5. And with the short control, it looks like it is going to be that A hit. But this nade, if Sereni gets the timing right, he could do so much with this. Unfortunately, I think it may actually end up costing him a bit. Nearly got spotted there, indeed. Going to be now throwing the grenade in. It doesn't do much, really. But considering the time and considering the 5-on-3 advantage, you see Sereni is aware of the fact that he can play this a little bit more cautiously. Let his teammates be there to help him once that peak is actually coming in on him. Oh, and actually he's gonna get flashed up above. Okay, Apekz ends up getting 2 somehow.
Hold on.
Truth as well dropping Viltrex. This is getting way too close. But at least for Tenerife Titans, Truth is left on 31 health, and indeed, as long as they swing together like that, it is indeed an easy frag. A bit closer than they would have hoped for in the end, but the main thing is they get the round. Although, considering how much they were down, ideally they want to be building up economy, and that's not really something they achieved in this round.
Now, the one positive outtake is the fact that, you know, they did lose a few FAMASs and the MP9, so it's not the, you know, it's not the it's not the most negative of outtakes. But as you said, still, yeah, the economy is vital in this case. The Titans have to build up quite a little bit of a bank to stem the tide of Apekz. And Pistols and Kevlar. Last round we saw a single player on B by the Titans, and I think Apekz have read this, and once again they'll be doing the same here, just switching it up with an actual B execution. A player in lower is in for the listening, and here we go. It's a full commitment. Viltrax, he knows what's coming his way. He's just been spotted. Flash is not really going to help him out at all. Raptor finds one. The spray through is good as he finds the second. Tenerife Titans, perhaps saved by the bell there, as Raptor is able to keep himself and his team in the swing for the round still. But all 3 coming in through mid is not really going to work out that magically, as double magic becomes single magic, single tiered. Was that a nade, by the way, embedded into the wall, as far as I could tell? That was pretty...
I'm not sure, I didn't spot it. Oh, flash going over. Not going to be, unfortunately, blinding Grussarn quite enough to actually allow for him to make his way in through the window. Oh, yeah, he's going to attempt the exact same thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's like one went in there, or the first one was double magic, just spotting, getting shot, okay. Second player goes through, okay, gets killed. Third player, hey, let's try again, the same. Maybe it works, the third time's the charm, you know. Well, you spoke well. You said it well already previously. Their economy is dependent on their survival, or their survival on their economy, like vice versa. And, well, this is pretty devastating. Double up is the name of the game, but they also have 2 MP9s and a Deagle. Nothing else to make up for. Oh, that was a weak flash. Oh, that was a super weak flash.
I think we've seen a few of those, to be honest.
Yeah, it's been a mixed bag of potatoes, really.
Honestly, saving the op here is obviously the only choice for Kaluber. The rest of them need to just join him because they have no money at all for the next round. So 13-7. That's what I said. They needed the economy. You pointed out, you mentioned that I had already kind of stressed it, but it just immediately spirals out of control after what was looking to be a bit of a comeback from them. Unfortunately, just because of the fact that they hadn't built up a good enough economy for themselves to get that reinvestment. I mean, they're looking at probably 14-7 now before they get the guns again. And that's pretty horrible of a position to be in, considering they will have to be then flawless, and this is map number 3. Thankfully, it's only the opening match of the group, so it won't be the end of the road for Tenerife Titans in the tournament yet. But you don't want to be kicking things off at a loss.
Nah, not at all. Yeah, exactly. And they have the op to rely upon. Maybe they'll be, doing the pick 'em up challenge here and actually go with putting the op to work. But it's not exactly something that will be that will be making much of a difference, especially when they attempt to boost short and spot into lower, but there's a player running so fast to try and challenge, and by the time they even get into position to get close to pick up the op, it's already too late. Chardonnay, the only reason why he dies there is because he picks up the op and it's spotted, actually. The timing just impeccable for Dennis. Really, he's having a great time of his own here, and you already called it. 14-7 is what we'll be looking at, as Tenerife Titans are now in dire trouble. Very reminiscent of Train. I mean, effectively, 16-8 is where Train ended. Let's see if perhaps this time the scoreline can be improved upon by Apekz to 16-7. We're about to find out. This is it. It's the last huzzah. It's the last hello that the Titans will be able to put up in this series.
Yeah, will Raftu keep that MP9? Or is he going to upgrade it?
I mean, maybe upgrading it because he already has Kevlar.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is going to go for it. It wouldn't have made sense to do it otherwise. Obviously, maybe would have had a bit of extra money for the next round, but you don't want to be thinking like that right now. You need this round win anyway.
Exactly.
So it makes sense that he went for it. He has decent nades anyway.
I would love to see one kit, just the one kit,
True. Yeah, that probably could have been worth it. Maybe because of that, he could have kept the MP9.
Yeah. I don't know, it's...
Backtracking a bit now, but I hadn't even noticed that they were lacking the kit. I presumed they would have been able to get one out, but no, I mean, they already kind of sacrificed as much as they could, and yeah, I don't know where Dennis has gotten that kill, but somehow he has. Was it through the B smoke? Is that what just happened?
Yes, it was through the B smoke, and the worst part, look at the amount of utility that the Titans have left. They had very little to begin with, but they used all of it within the first 20 seconds of the round, even sooner. At 1:32, they already had one flash left. The Titans are right now under great duress, and you can tell that they are starting to lose focus and control. Kaluber, good return. Dennis had been spotted and taken out, but unfortunately for Chardonnay, he is also out of line and out of place, and that is going to be it. That's 15-7. The Titans, they have no hope to recovering this round. I mean, the best they can do here is exit frags, maybe do a little bit of damage here and there. Oh, Kaluber spotted. Lucky that his backpack is not part of his body, otherwise that would be a... now it's just going to be water spilling out instead of blood still. Okay. Hold on, Jose. That was sexy. I love it. Too bad it's a bit late for the party now.
Yeah, unfortunately, even with that kill from Raftu, as we said, they just don't have the kit. So it is unfortunately a little bit too late to the party for those kills. But at least an op got retrieved out of that. I mean, the round was pretty much already lost, so they were able to at least upgrade their own weaponry, get something a little bit better to work with in this next round to try and fight for the overtime. But it's not going to be an easy attempt at all. They can manage to drop over a few weapons. The buy is decent, but they need 8 in a row for an overtime. That is so difficult, especially here on Dust 2, a map that isn't really sighted towards either CT or T. It's close enough, so you don't really expect either team to be going 8 rounds in a row is what I'm going to aim for with that point right there. It wasn't coming out as well as I would have hoped.
I mean, you are right. You don't believe. I mean, I likewise don't believe in the fact that it's possible to get 8 in a row like that.
There we go.
That's it. That's pretty much the confirmation of that, ladies and gentlemen. Tenerife Titans. They'll have to make do with the loser series coming up after this best of 3. Now, who they play up against, we'll find out soon enough. Isaac, Kobors, and Singularity are still playing, so one or the other, whoever loses, will have to face them off. But this is it. It's Viltrex, a 1-on-4. And having 8 rounds in a row to win, plus this 1-on-4 clutch round to begin with. Unfortunately,